Uh, Heather, A through Z.
L?
We kind of discussed the topics beforehand, and
Yeah,
you
I don't
could
know.
have helped me out and picked a letter
All right.
that was
J.
no, it's too late. Just I was saying remotely pick a letter that would be close to anything we talked about. But no. You're just like other letter?
I sometimes I like to see what kind of way you'll finagle it into what we've talked about with your magic words. So
I am way too fucking sleep deprived right now to be doing no magic words.
that's fair.
I ain't got the magic in me. To quote a B.O.B. song, I ain't got the magic. Kinda.
That's fair.
I'm pretty
My
sure
bad.
that's what Rivers Cuomo said in that song. Isn't that his name, Rivers Cuomo or something? It's Rivers something. The lead singer of Weezer.
I don't remember, but maybe.
Well, isn't that what Benji said in Pitch Perfect when he's like, I ain't got the magic in me? Isn't that what he said?
Yes, it is Rivers Cuomo. And that is what he said, yes.
See? Benji ain't got the magic. I ain't got the magic. That's why they lost.
Oh no. Still up in the air if they should have lost, in my opinion.
All right. So Heather gave me the dumb letter of L. So apparently I am supposed to pull something out of a fucking hat like I'm some Vegas magician for Heather's entertainment. Doing some David Blaine Copperfield shit over here. I guess in some really weird, lame news. That's about the best you're fucking getting, Heather. It's some lame news. Maw 2's happening at Blumhouse Pictures with Octavia Spencer coming back. I was reminded before we recorded that she burned to death in the first one. I didn't remember that. So, I guess we're going to see how that happens. That sounds exciting. And what are you going to say, Heather? You said, look like you're about to say something.
I was just going to say, everyone go check out our review on that one if you need to remember what happened.
Or just don't. I mean, listen to it. That's fine. I'm just saying it doesn't matter if you remember. I don't remember for that fucking movie. But in other lame sequel news, apparently Warner Brothers is moving right along with Sinners 2. Just no Ryan Coogler and no Michael B. Jordan. I hope they don't expect it to be good.
Right. The vision will be gone, pretty much.
It's just one of those movies that seems like it's destined to, at best, in peak form, it's going to be okay. That's it.
Just like giving the name before it, just tarnishing it for what?
Like almost to the degree of like it'll be on listicles of worst sequels ever, just because no matter what, it ain't got a shot. The only way it has a shot is Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan. That's the only chance it has of being anything. Now it's just like I said, at best, it's 100% maximum effort. 70.
Yeah. And I appreciate that Michael B. Jordan just didn't want to do it without Coogler.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Hollywood being Hollywood. Oh, it made money. We got to get a sequel out. It's no matter what.
It's
But
giving me PTSD of Moana
you
too.
can make that mistake where you come out with a sequel and you don't use the same director or the same actors? When has that ever worked? I mean, has it ever worked?
Well, it's not even just not the same director or same actor. You're also not technically getting the writer of the movie, and you're not getting the creator of it either, like in those terms also. So it's not even that. It's just you get none of the creative force that more or less created this. Like,
And I'm trying to think, has there ever been a scenario like that where there was a sequel, different actors, different director, different writer, and it actually worked following a successful part one?
I mean, the closest you can get to that's maybe Speed 2.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying best case scenario, I guess, is Speed 2.
So why would you want to do something that,
Is almost guaranteed to lose money? Yeah.
that is almost guaranteed to fail?
Like,
Why would you do that? You know that this is not a formula for success. So why would you do something that is guaranteed to fail?
It's like they removed the reasons that it made so much money and they think it's still going to be good.
like it's just they're gonna lose every dollar of profit they've made on this one, in this one, in the next, if not more. They might lose more money making Sinners 2 than they made on Sinners 1. Like,
I mean,
best case
but why would
scenario,
you do this if you know the history of cinema
because
has shown that this doesn't work?
because it is David Zaslav, regular person David Zaslav, the man that loved Game of Thrones, but when he watched it with his friends, he felt uncomfortable because there was naked people on screens. And he's a CEO with naked people on screens with his friends, and that's just bad. Because this is the same company that had HBO Max change its name to Max and now back to HBO Max. That's why. That's exactly why this is happening. This is the same company.
But it's the history of all cinema. All of it. Like all the cinema, Sterling. It's all the cinema.
Justin.
All the cinema tells you it doesn't work.
But Justin.
Why would you go against that? Why would you go, okay, the first time they bungee jumped with a bungee cord and they had fun. So let's do it with different people, but let's just without the cord.
Because it's the same people that looked at the brand of HBO and went, we don't need that name.
Is this similar to the Mission Impossible 2 scenario?
I mean, it is. It's the same. It's literally the same people that went against essentially decades of the brand name of HBO and just went, that's not a big enough draw. Let's get rid of that name.
But it's all the cinema.
It's all the home box office, Jastin.
But all of it says no.
I know, Jastin. I know. It's David Zaslav. Dude, he's just a regular guy, man. He only makes multiple millions of dollars every year. He's just a regular guy. He's just like you and me. He's just trying. He's trying his best, man.
I don't think it's trying your best when the whole history of cinema says it don't work.
Man, Jastin, this man isn't used to being successful. He's got to burn that bridge, man. He wants to take all the profits they're going to make off Sinners and Superman this year and just burn it all to the ground.
Is he pulling a Sinners mentality on Sinners 2?
Wait, is he actually a vampire?
Yeah, is he the vampires from Sinners just literally not learning a lesson?
Did he not watch the movie and then some red-eyed motherfucker came to his door and he's like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
Oh no, is that what happened? Did Zaslav get vampired? And now he's just burning everything to the ground. He's like, nah, we need to make more anti-vampire propaganda. And he's just going to ruin it. So then people aren't scared of vampires anymore. And so more people get vampired. because he feels kind of dumb that he got vampired and no one else did.
Just stop being a strange man and doing strange things. Just be a smart man and do smart things.
Okay, it can't be any stranger though than what Netflix is doing with Stranger Things.
What's happening with that?
All right, Stranger Things season 5. You know, season 5, the one following season 4 that came out like 4 years ago, whatever the fuck it is. Right. So the first like 4 episodes or 5 episodes or whatever are coming out on like Thanksgiving. And then like the next 3 episodes or whatever are coming out the day after Christmas. And then the final episode is coming out on New Year's Eve.
Which I think is supposed to be 2.5 hours, something like that.
Wow. Okay.
Shouldn't they just wait for like January 2nd and put them all out?
Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like if I'm not mistaken, I think that the whole like splitting up the things started with them because of just them filming during COVID and needing to finish stuff up. So I think they are the ones on Netflix that started the we'll film or we'll show you the rest in a month. And then other people started doing that format. And now they're just like going harder on it.
Actually, most streaming services actually just started doing weekly episodes.
Yeah.
That's what everyone else does.
I mean, on Netflix specifically, though.
Oh, yeah. That's what they're doing. Yeah, they're just doing that. That's, I mean, and not to spoil Squid Games for anybody, but that's what Squid Games is doing too. I know that they're saying it's season 2 and it's not. Season 2 was season 2, and this next season's going to be season 2.5. Like, that's all it is. You know, they're just doing that because, I don't know, whatever. And so the logic behind it is supposedly supposed to be that it makes people keep a Netflix subscription for like 3 months. Okay, but also if you just release the first episode the day after Thanksgiving, do one a week, you're still roughly covering the same time frame, if not more, like one more week. And you're fine. Like, it's the same thing. But yes, this is all strictly to have you keep your subscription longer because they know people are going to sign back up, watch Stranger Things, and they can't keep canceling in between. Yeah. It's just to get an extra $25 out of you. It's psychotic is what it is.
Wow.
I mean, okay. I'm sure they have some algorithm or something that says and that tells them this is the most perfect thing. It's also just dumb. And I mean, and I'm not saying it's not going to be successful. It's probably going to be the most watched season of television they've ever fucking had. I'm just saying most people are going to look at it and think, this is dumb. And like, it's not going to make anybody not watch it, but it's also not, it doesn't inspire anybody to want to watch it either. You know, it just, you know what I mean? Why do you have the people that want to watch it look at it and go, that's a dumb schedule?
Yeah, then it makes them less like excited to watch it.
Yeah, you're going to watch it. Everybody's still going to watch it, but I think you're right. It's going to taper some of the excitement just because it's dumb and complicated. And
yeah,
it's like, oh, every holiday from now till the end of the year, I've got some Stranger Things to watch. Like, are people really going to sit there and spend their New Year's Eve watching Stranger Things season 5 or the series finale? Probably not. Just release it the next day when everybody's fucking hungover and sitting at home anyway.
Yeah. Which is probably like, I feel like it's going to be one of those where they're releasing it on New Year's Eve, but it's like close enough to where it's midnight and like,
oh yeah, no, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. It's going to come out New Year's Eve morning.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that's what they did with the start of the second part of season 4. I think that's how they did it and broke the internet when they did that. I mean, my thing too is like, I mean, season 4 came out 2-3 years ago at this point. I don't remember. I think it was 22.
It's impossible.
I think it was in 2022, but either way, like, these kids are going to look so old, and I'm just so curious how they're doing the storyline for that reason. Like, I know that they have like a teaser out for it now, which I did see, but I'm just like, I just want to know how they're explaining how old they are now. Because I mean, if they're doing a time jump, I'm just, because like you see in the trailer at least that like Max is in her coma still, right? And that like Lucas is.
Is it? I don't know. I didn't actually fucking watch that, but
well, anyway, but yeah, it's like Lucas is still there by her bedside. So it's like, is that supposed to be years later still, or is that like same time frame as before and then they leap forward? Because I just heard they were doing some kind of time jump. Maybe that's not a thing. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it would probably make a lot of sense to do a time jump, especially if everybody looks older and you can't justify everybody's appearance. But the way the last season ended,
how?
It's just going to be difficult because it looked like the town was being invaded. So
Dude,
I don't know. I'm not sure.
The town had like lava chasms all over it. They're just 5 years later.
Like there was all this stuff going on, unless that winds up being a vision or a dream or something. But I don't know. I mean, I guess you could write yourself out of that and still time jump it, but I just wonder how they're going to do all that.
I would love the idea of them like doing a time jump, and it's just like 11 doing a voiceover going, yeah, it's been 5 years of living with the chasms all over town. But you know, high school's still high school.
Right. Because I mean, half of their like city was dead. It was becoming upside down. So I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I mean, I don't know. 5 years of living with underdown chasms, though, that could fuck stuff up.
Right.
I wonder how many times on Facebook we're going to see people post that which episode they think Eddie's going to come back in.
They're gonna, yeah. It's probably going to be one of those like they're guessing every episode until it doesn't happen.
It's like the end of the world cults, where it's just like every time the world's supposed to end and it doesn't, they're like, oh, my bad, I misread the signs. It's actually next Monday. It's just gonna be that for an entire season.
Yeah, and I know we talked about that in our episode. The only acceptable scenario I feel like for that happening is if it's like in Dustin's mind, like he's seeing him or something.
Or if he comes back as an evil Eddie.
And that's fine too.
And he's like an evil Vecna Eddie. Like, he comes back as a guy and he's like, fuck yeah, I'm evil Eddie with my evil guitar. I'm going to show you evil guitar. And he's like, man, I'll play some more like shitty ass Metallica music.
Then he'll be playing Saint Anger and shitty Metallica music.
Yeah, any of it. Just any of it.
But I would say don't bring him back. Like, how about we just not do that?
Bro is so busy now anyway. Like, would he even be available?
Anything from the movie we're doing tonight, it's just bringing people back is just sometimes not the best idea.
But Jastin, if they don't bring him back now, they'll never bring him back.
It's true. It's the last season.
Do you really want to live with that on your shoulders, Jastin?
Just do a memory or something. He can be in somebody, like you said, he can be in somebody's head, or maybe some talk he had with somebody that we didn't see from the last season, and you can have him in there, but don't bring him back.
Nah, Jastin, he got to come back, man.
Nah, don't bring him back.
No,
he's a great character, but I just don't know how it would work.
I'm not gonna lie. If I were the writers of Stranger Things, I'd fuck with everybody and have him come back the very first scene of season 5, just to fuck them all up. and then just have him die again.
Honestly, like, I don't remember, I don't think either of you watched Lost, but like there was a character in that one that everybody loved, Charlie, and like
Not Charlie.
yeah, Charlie. The guy that was from Lord of the Rings, Dominic something Monaghan? Dominic Monaghan? Anyway, so he like everybody loved his character and this isn't a spoiler, it's been out for a while, but he died and everybody's like, no, he's not really dead, right? He's not really dead. He like we didn't see it, right? So he's coming back. This wasn't real. And then like the next season, they show him like talking to one of the guys and it's just in his mind. And people were like so pissed off. But it was like I think the first scene of the new season. So yeah.
Oh, dude, what if it starts with like a vision, like Dustin has a vision of Eddie screaming that he's still trapped in the underdown or whatever, and he needs Dustin to come save him, and it's just Vecna fucking with him, and he's not actually in any of it. Like that's the cameo scene. Is
I kind of
Eddie
like
pleading
Billy
for help?
in season 4.
Who?
Like he was when Billy was in like just the one scene in season 4 when he's like Vecna Billy and he's talking to Max. He came back for you don't even remember. He came back for like the one scene and he didn't even like film it with them. He was like in Australia filming that. But like it was just literally like a 3-minute cameo in that season. And that was all he was in it, you know?
Anyway, this isn't a Stranger Things theory podcast. We've got so much more important things to get to. On a more down note, actor Jonathan Joss recently passed away. He was, for lack of a better word, as of right now, more or less murdered. I've read a lot of conflicting reports on that, so I won't go into that much detail as of right this moment. The person who is suspected of it was charged, arraigned. They are out on bail, but are told not to have any firearms and house arrest, all that shit. We'll find out more with trials and whatnots, but yeah, that was real crazy, real sad. If you don't know who he is, he was in Parks and Rec. He did the voice for John Redcorn and King of the Hill, which is coming back to Hulu. They're doing new episodes of that. As far as I know, he's in that. So that's a thing. And then, yeah, so, that really sucks because there is chances that it could be hate crime. It could also not be. I don't know. Like I said, we'll find out. Very fucked, I think is the best word for that.
Yeah.
But in a very much lighter yet fucked situation also, we're doing a Cinema Slayers exclusive here today. We are trying. We found out from our dear co-host here, Jastin. We found out about these right here. You might be looking at me going, Sterling, that's just a Reese's Big Cup. It's not. This is a Reese's Big Cup with grape jelly. See, Jastin showing you right there. Reese's PB&J cup. We tracked these down to eat for you guys to let you know how they are. And, God, I'm dreading the fuck out of this. Oh, you guys ready?
Ready.
All right, here you go. I'm worried. I don't taste it.
I mean, I taste a little bit of the grape,
Very
but
subtle.
yeah, it's real subtle. I mean, it's not gross. It's not bad.
Oh, I got it there.
But
It's not bad, but why?
it's just a hint of grape. That's
And you know what I don't need with peanut butter and chocolate? A hint of grape.
Yeah, the fact that it was subtle enough, like, it was fine. I have no issues with it.
I do.
Yeah.
But maybe you got a little bit more in yours for the jelly or something.
Even just a hint of grape is gross. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll eat PB&J with grape jelly, but chocolate and grape, I don't like that.
It's all right, but still, I think their caramel one is my favorite of these
I still
Oh, the
haven't had that
extras?
one.
augmented ones.
I got to try the caramel one. The chocolate lava one was good. But yeah, the caramel
It's just
one.
messy. It's just a messy
Yeah.
peanut butter cup.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Jastin. But you did have an alternate flavor of these that you suggested to us. That I think is one of the most spectacular ideas I've ever heard.
Yeah.
You gonna tell us what it is? Tell the listeners.
They need to do this shit with honey.
They do. Peanut butter and honey?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's
Yeah.
the good stuff.
Peanut butter and honey.
That's the winner.
It just sounds amazing.
PBH. Yes. That.
And when you said that, Jastin, I read that and I was just like, that was just one of the most simple, like, oh, that just sounds perfect.
Yeah. With this combination, oh man.
Yeah. Doing that big cup with just a little hint of honey. Oh yeah, that'd be fucking swell. Love the fuck out of that. I did not like, once I got the taste of grape, I didn't like it.
If any of you guys have had it, let us know what you think. It's fine. I'm indifferent. I don't feel like it's definitely not the best Reese's I've ever had, but it's also not like gross,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
It's fine.
I need a shot of Malort to wipe that out of my mouth.
Underwhelming might be the word for it.
Like I said, Malort, that'll fix it.
Oh, yeah.
Now we got to find the strawberry one.
Fuck no.
I was going to say that might be better because I prefer strawberry jelly anyway.
Strawberry jelly is pretty good.
Or jam,
See,
whatever it is.
I prefer strawberry on my peanut butter sandwiches, but grape jelly goes better on sausage biscuits.
That is 100% true.
I will eat grape
Yeah.
jelly on that. Yeah.
That's actually the only way to go on that.
That was one of those combinations that kind of changed my life. Putting jelly on a sausage biscuit. Oh, man.
Yep. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember like if somebody told me I should or if I just tried it, but I was like, this is the greatest breakfast. That's why I love the McDonald's like sausage biscuit and you put that grape jelly on it. Man. Yeah.
Whataburger got me putting honey on.
Oh, yeah. That honey butter?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying putting that honey
Like
on.
chicken biscuits and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even the ones at Chick-fil-A. I haven't been there in a minute, but I would put honey on those, on their little breakfast sandwiches.
Guys, I'm so excited. I'm going to Memphis next week, and I'm going to get some Whataburger. I'm going to get so fat. I'm going to eat so many Whataburgers. It's not even funny. I'm going to be going there for dinner, going back at 11 for a late night breakfast. Oh, it's going to be great.
Are you going to eat Burger King on the way back?
No.
Have you had any Burger King recently, Jastin? I just want to check in.
No.
Just want to check in.
I can answer for him. No.
They've built a sizable new one.
Burger Kings have come and gone since you've had Burger King. That's what I'm hearing.
Wait, are you talking about that one that's by your house or on your way to your house?
Yeah. I drove by there.
And, when they did the renovations. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. They
okay.
did. It's sizable now.
Have you gone inside to check out the renovations?
It looks clean.
I mean, have you gone inside though?
I could just tell from the outside the cleanliness of it.
I mean, I'm sure you could, but I'm just asking. Did you go inside though?
Spoken like a vampire, Jastin.
I really love how it looks from the outside, Sterling.
Okay, then did you go through the drive-thru?
Isn't that how the saying goes? It's what's outside that counts.
Yes, that is exactly. When it comes to Burger King, yes. That is
That's
exactly.
just for Burger King. That's not for everything ever.
No, it's just Burger King.
You've been doing it all wrong, Jastin.
Yeah, they're nice to look at while you're going somewhere else to eat. Because it's like one of those things where it like reminds you where you could have gone. And it just makes wherever you're going taste a little bit better. Yeah.
You could just eat it for me. Just let me know if it says improved.
I doubt it. Justin, when you come up here, we're getting Burger King. You're gonna eat Burger King.
I mean, yeah. What did I say? What did I say, Bobby? I mean, yeah. I said, yeah.
You got scared. Like you went, ah!
Did I?
Yeah, you did like I did a jump scare on you.
I didn't do that. It wasn't happiness.
No, you went, ah!
Oh, I thought it was happiness that I expressed.
You know when
That
like
was the equivalent of a forced smile.
you
That's
know,
what
like,
that was.
You know when Phoenix Wright gets scared by evidence? That's what you did.
Oh. I wasn't like, yeah.
No.
It wasn't like that.
You did not smile at all.
It should have been that. What did I actually do?
You got scared.
You were like,
I wonder why I did that.
Because you like I've always said, Jastin, your heart of heart knows the truth. It's that reflex. That's your heart telling you what your actual reaction was.
We went over this in past lives. Those feelings were real, Sterling. I can't.
Jastin, nobody's saying they weren't real. But your heart of hearts knows you've moved on. Like, realistically speaking, Jastin, how many more times have you eaten Whataburger since you last ate Burger King? Exactly. Enough said.
Don't put me on the spot like that.
I mean, if I really want to put you on the spot, Justin, how much Canes have you eaten since you last ate at Burger King? That's putting you on the spot. Yeah, exactly.
Last week.
I just love that you're still dying on this hill about this Burger King being the best burger.
No, Jastin.
Why am I dying? Why can't I be thriving on the hill?
Because you're not thriving.
Why am I dying?
Because you're struggling, Jastin.
Dying.
You are gurgling on the pavement just inches away from death. Because, Jastin, let me remind you that for whatever reason I know this, you drive by Burger King to go get your Canes.
Leave it in the dust, just in your rear view.
I drove by 2 Burger Kings.
Just not even sorry about it either, though.
2 Burger Kings. 2 kings to get to the kings.
Oh, I love that for you.
Just so unapologetic about it. I love that.
Well, one of them was a renovated one, and the other one is just a no. But it was, but it was fun. I had fun looking at them.
Yeah, I bet you did, Jess. I bet you looked at both of those and went, God, this Canes is going to be fucking good. You got that double dose.
Oh, the 2 kings.
That
If it
Canes
makes you
tasted
feel
fucking
better.
good, didn't it, Jastin?
There is the option to drive by Burger King to Canes here as well. So
See, there's just something about that. One day I'll eat Burger King.
I'm sure.
It's
I'm
on the
sure you
schedule.
will. I'm sure you will. The day you die in your dreams.
We all have something to aspire to. I
You'll,
mean, it's
you'll be
just
eating
something
from
to
that
look for.
Burger King in hell.
It's just something to aspire to. We all can eat there.
In hell. Because the devil's going to be like, yep, flame broiled. Just the way I like it.
And Heather can get the nugget. What is it? Nugget licorice or
Yeah.
Yep. No notes. That's exactly it.
get those.
Anyway, before this movie, you guys watch anything?
No.
Nah, not me.
I watched the first episode of Poker Face. That's pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah.
It's got a good reputation.
Yeah.
And I like that actress.
Yeah, Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah. I like
She's
her
great.
eyes.
You like her eyes, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she's cool. That first season, I've only seen the first season of Poker Face. Good. It's good.
Well, I've only seen the first episode, so there. But I did. I enjoyed it. Are you guys ready for this movie?
Yep.
I guess let's just do a little mini occult ritual to bring back our song.
Somebody listen to me.
Nobody knows anything but you.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on.
Cinema Slayers.
Hey, Cinefans, and welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Slayers podcast. I'm Sterling, and as always, I'm joined by Heather and Jastin. And tonight we're going to talk about what we liked, didn't like, and everything in between with the new movie, Bring Her Back. We are going to go recommendations and scores. I'm sorry, we're going to go spoiler-free recommendations and scores, and then to a more spoiler-centric section to allow you to jump around if you so require. And with all that, I guess we'll go to our resident expert of somebody whose child died and she resurrected him. Heather, what are your spoiler-free thoughts about this here, Bring Her Back?
I do love, I'm just learning and remembering all of the things I'm an expert on being on this podcast that I just didn't know. So.
What do you mean you didn't know? You were telling us all about it.
Yeah. Pre-recording talk, of course. Yeah.
You were talking about how your blind daughter died,
mm-hmm.
and you resurrected her.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I liked this movie. I thought it was good. The acting is absolutely incredible across the board here, especially Sally Hawkins. Billy Barrett, who plays Andy, also really great and stood out to me.
Also not Australian.
No,
he is British.
Oh, okay.
I listened to some Australians talk about it, and they were like, yeah, that was like a perfect Australian accent.
Nice. He's solid, man. And no, I don't know if I want to ruin this for you, but I kind of do because it's sort of funny. He was young Dimitri in Craven. He was the younger version of the younger brother. Because I was like, he looks kind of familiar, but I didn't know what from. Anyway, but we're gonna not count that against him. So
why would you count that? He was Baby Chameleon.
He was Baby Chameleon. Yeah. You know what? He was not at all the biggest problem with that movie. So, but he actually is one of the best things about this movie. He's really, I mean, I don't know why, but I just think his performance in this was so stellar. He just was so believable, and he just did everything really naturally. And I just think his back and forth with Sally Hawkins was really great in this movie. And I know technically, they're the two siblings and Sally Hawkins, I think, are all the main characters, but it's really Sally Hawkins. But of the siblings, I do kind of feel like Andy is the one they focus on more as far as his actual, backstory and him as a person. I feel like he's a little bit more focused on, which makes sense for the movie that they're telling. But yeah, I really was impressed with these performances a lot. And Sally Hawkins, I mean, she's in a lot of things, but this is definitely the first time I've seen her like this. And she was incredible. Like, she just really nailed this. The story is it's like a repackaging of some other things, but it's done in a more effective way, I think, for the most part. It I mean, it's like a story of grief and loss and like separation that comes from like that very like just the separation of emotions when you're basically trying to deal with going through the grief and like I don't know, it's like hiding emotions but also not wanting to hide them. There's a lot here as far as like the grieving process that we see. And yeah, it's just you just really you feel it here. It's very noticeable here because of Sally Hawkins' performance. Yeah, she just I don't know, I just can't really say enough good things. Like she just really sold it here. She was so good. She was so good. And I think that the movie really does it kind of completely hinges on her character. So she's got to be like up there in how she's delivering this because this is like she's the shining star of this movie. So you have to have her be good. Like what I appreciate about these guys who directed this, and I'm not remembering their names, just like their YouTube name is Raka Raka, I think, right? Something like that. But these two guys, like, it's not only that they don't only like nail horror in films. Like I know they've only done a few films at this point, but they nail the story aspect as well. Which is interesting because they have similar themes, I think, on the two movies that they've done so far. Like both this and Talk to Me deal with the elements of grief and supernatural and possession and body horror and all of these things. But somehow they still feel like very separate movies, which I appreciate. These guys just don't feel like a one-trick pony, I guess, if that makes sense. Even though they incorporate the same elements in movies, they're very different stories that they're telling. But yeah, so, I mean, I feel like it's a little bit similar to like Jordan Peele and how he is with his movies and like just, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the comparison I make of like out of nowhere, just this incredible director who just nails this genre. That's kind of what these guys are doing for me on a little bit like, lesser known level than Jordan Peele, of course. But all that being said, like I feel like they're just telling an interesting and effective story and they're drawing you into this world right away. Like you're in it from the beginning. At least I was. And you can see from the perspective of the sibling characters why at first they're disarmed by Sally Hawkins' character, why they feel safe with her. And it might not stay that way, but they're just so good at building up that transition and that turn for her character and the reaction from the kids. And yeah, I just think they do everything so effectively in this movie. Like for me, this is a really hard watch, if I'm being honest. This movie is very hard to watch, but it's effective. It sells it. It's really good at telling the story it's trying to tell in a visceral sort of way. But yeah, I just think all that being said, like it's solid. It's a solid film, solid script, phenomenal acting.
Jastin, what about you?
Okay, so I looked up their names, and I don't know if it's Filippo. I'm gonna say it's the Filippo brothers, Danny and Michael Filippo. It looks like Filippo. Hopefully, I'm not mispronouncing that. But as far as I'm concerned, they are now they are 2 for 2. I mean, like I really got on here um and thought that Talk to Me was like one of the more innovative and just kind of creative horror movies that I had seen in a while. I thought it was a great horror film. And when I found out that these two guys were YouTubers, and so that was kind of their launching point to start making movies like this, which is what they really want to make and things like that. You wonder with a movie like Talk to Me, especially with the hand, and that was such an interesting and creative gimmick, and they told this story, but it was unique in a lot of ways, and it was a very interesting story. And it just kind of, the year it came out, it really just captivated not only me, but just the world and the horror genre. It really now sticks out. Now it is just known as one of the best modern horror movies that has come out in the past few years. That's what Talk to Me is. And so going into this, it's like, okay, this, I think, is that movie where, just like you said, Heather, are these guys a one hit wonder? Or are they really good? Is it possible? Can they do another movie and tell a different story and do it a different way, but still kind of have, but still kind of produce the same results, produce the same, at least a similar quality of a film and things like that. And I mean, and right now the world is raving and talking about this movie. So I think the conclusion I can draw is that I get the comparison with something like Jordan Peele. These people they are wonderkins of this genre. They are like they are like prodigies when it comes to this. Like they have just come into this horror genre and they tell just some of the most memorable stories with it. And even if they are using similar themes, like you're right, Heather, the themes about death and grief and all of that kind of stuff, and people who are holding on to things, can't let go of things. Yes, some of those similar themes are there. And we've seen stuff with possession, body horror, uh, the dealing with the dead and people and alive people, et cetera, rituals. These are themes that we are familiar with by now in the horror genre. But I agree with you when you said their ability to tell a story, to me, they have to be some of the top-notch filmmakers when it comes to telling a story. Especially this one, like I think for a lot of people, when you compare this to Talk to Me, I think Talk to Me might be a little more fun because of the gimmick and the concept and this hand, and it might be a little more relatable with the alcohol allegories and all of that kind of stuff. I can see people gravitating to that more or seeing that as a more fun movie than this. But I do think this is a better script. I think it's a better film. I think it's a little tighter. I think it has so many things that it sets up and it pays off almost everything. Even little minute things that characters will say will come back later and they wind up being big things. It'll give you this little clue and then you follow the story and then it pays off so many things. I mean, there are literally almost everything that you're seeing, almost nothing that you see is a waste because it comes back and it means something a little bit later, or you come back and revisit that scene, and all of a sudden, when you know what you know, it kind of takes a different meaning, even though it didn't in that moment. So these people are, these might be some of the most gifted people making movies right now. After Talk to Me, and then they come out with this, and yeah, this is just an interesting story, but it's not like a horror movie in the sense of, oh, like Final Destination is a horror movie, or like Michael Myers is a horror movie. I think that horror movies are supposed to elicit some type of emotion, and it doesn't always have to be the same one. This isn't scary in the sense like Michael Myers or something like that is scary, but it is unsettling enough, I think, to be horror. And that's where it separates itself. This is way more like unsettling, just the visuals, the sound design, what they do with the story. There's a lot of children in peril in this movie. So these are all kinds of things that just rattle your audience a different way. It's so I think that with the themes that it's doing and how it's telling the story, I think that's what this was good at, and that's how it differs from Talk to Me. That they were just kings at creating this unsettling kind of unnerving atmosphere with just the visuals and what they were doing with the storytelling. I totally agree with you. Well, the entire cast is great. Like, there is not one performance that is bad. There is not one performance that is good. I mean, pretty much all of these performances are great. I think they are. I mean, Sally Hawkins, though, I think is definitely the standout, but it's like even though she is the standout, it's not by much because I agree with you. I think that Billy in this as Andy, he was great, but I really liked Sora Wong as Piper. I thought she was great.
My understanding, this is also her first role in anything.
Yeah. And I mean, I loved that character. I loved both of them. I loved Andy and Piper. I really felt for them in this. I was rooting for them in this. I wanted them, in a horror or kind of thriller movie like this. A lot of those movies are predicated on you have to care about the characters and you have to be rooting for them and you kind of want to see them survive this or get, at least be compelled to wonder how are they going to deal with this ordeal. And the movie definitely establishes that the performances and their bond and this brother and sister bond they have and all the other story elements you get associated with them, it's great. Like I love the dynamic of them and I love what they did with the story of them. From my understanding, Sora Wong is blind, right? Like she's blind in one eye, or is she? I know that she's visually impaired. So I commend them for even in the casting looking for somebody who is actually like the character that they wanted. So not only was this like an actress that got to do this for the first time, but there's an authenticity to it that this is a person who lives like this, who lives this life and who's actually gone through this. So it added an authenticity to it. And that's not to say anything about her performance. If anything, they just got a great actress to do this who just happens to be visually impaired more than it is the other way around. Like that, her acting definitely is great in this. And I mean, she had some moments in the third act. She was great in that third act, especially. Um, but yeah, and then not to forget about Jonah Phillips, who plays Oliver in this. Most of the unnerving, disturbing horror, if you will, elements come from that character. A lot of it involves him. A lot of it involves how he's shot and how he's acting.
That's a good
And
point. Yeah.
that kid did a phenomenal job too.
Yeah, he was great.
He's wonderful because and really, like, as far as the horror of it, a lot of those really visual horror elements come from him, and he had to nail it in those scenes, and he does. And then lastly, just to quickly go back to Sally Hawkins, man, this was like a great performance. Like when people talk about they want horror to be taken more seriously, and how come horror doesn't win more awards, and how come horror isn't up for Oscars and stuff. Well, this is the kind of horror movie that is capable of winning awards. It's not Final Destination 50. It's not any of these. It's not Michael Myers 10. This is the kind of horror movie that is capable of winning awards. You have top-notch performances. You have a top-notch story where everything lines up, from the themes to the storytelling and everything like that. And all of these other movies better take notice, because it's almost inexcusable for a movie to be this good, 90 minutes long. And we got a dime a dozen movies that can't seem to do shit right and can't seem to line up their themes with the characters and the story, and can't get you to feel anything for the characters. And these brothers, these Filippo brothers, in 2 movies were able to do it, like with just great creativity, and do it in completely different ways, almost using the same themes but telling completely different stories. So what's the excuse for all of these other things? Like, yeah. So again, so like I said, this is another win for them. And clearly these guys are special. These guys are talented, because here is another movie that I think again is going to go down as one of the great horror movies in this modern era that we have.
Jastin, why are you picking on Final Destination so much? Man, you like the new one. You give them like 13 or 14 more movies, maybe they'll be good for you. Like, maybe you'll just be like, hell yeah, this wins awards. Man, give them time, dude. They've only been doing it for decades. Damn, Jastin.
I wouldn't try to hate on it, but I'm just saying, but these brothers, the Filippo's out the gate though.
Yeah, kind of like Jordan Peele was. But also, like,
Yeah.
you think about these, like, these younger actors now, and I know we've mentioned it before, like, how much more believable and realistic and insanely good they are these days. Like, and they probably have a better catalog of younger performers to learn from with that now too, and older ones. Like, if they look up to older actors, obviously, like, I don't know what it is, but like both of these siblings in this were just so good and relatable. They were just fantastic.
Yeah, I did not like this movie as much as you guys did. I'm not saying I did not like the movie. I'm just saying I did not like it as much as you guys have. I do agree, though. I mean, acting in this is top to bottom great. My issue with this movie is there is a lot of aspects of this movie that I feel like I've seen too much. The basic structures, narratively speaking, of this movie, there's a billion of those movies. And that to me did taper some of my enjoyment of it. Now, with this, does this movie do a better job of telling that same story than most of those movies? Yes. But at its heart, it's a movie we've seen a billion times. Someone's lost somebody, and they go the supernatural route wanting to bring them back. And then there's like the deal with the devil aspect of it. That's, you know, what price are you paying? Like, is the price too high for what you have to do to get what you want? Those types of things. Those are themes, especially in horror movies, that have been around for decades. Decades. And I've seen a billion of them. And I don't know if that's necessarily what I wanted to see again. Now, like I said, is this a very, very, very good version of that story? Yes, it is. But also, I'm still just a little bit tired of that story in the end. Now, what this movie does to also, I think, more effectively tell that story, though, is this movie goes to an almost unparalleled realm of visual like veracity. This, like Heather was alluding to and stuff like that, there are scenes in this movie that are downright about as close to unwatchable as you can get. And I do mean that in a good way. They are very intense scenes, visually speaking. And it's still, though, very hard to look wide-eyed at those scenes and just let them wash over you visually. Because they are very, very intense. I mean, I can just say the cantaloupe scene. Everybody that's seen this movie knows exactly what I'm talking about right away, and why that's a hard scene for people to watch. And the funny thing is it's like a weird double-edged sword of a scene, because while these directors are directors that I do want to see more of and stuff like that, it's like also, though, do I like want to watch that scene again type of scenario? Whereas I think Talk to Me, even in its more grotesque scenes, is very watchable. And I do think that tapers things a little bit with me on this, is what level of rewatchability does this movie have, considering how gruesome some of those scenes can be. Now, I'm not saying that I could not watch those scenes again and make my way through it. I'm just saying your John Q. public, even people that like this movie, are going to know that scene's coming, and they're probably just going to look away and never see those things again. So then how effective does your movie become when you're visually taking yourself out of it in certain instances? In a visual medium, that gets kind of messy. But those aspects of things, and also, like you guys have said, and like I alluded to, though, the acting, and I'd also like to throw the cinematography with this movie. Because visually speaking, they do go a different route in this than they did with Talk to Me. There's a lot more, I think, focus in this when it comes to what they visually throw in this movie. I think Talk to Me had like a more like wide spectrum of what they were wanting to show. I think in this one, and you mentioned it, Jastin, it's a lot more tight with how they do things. And I think you brought that up in terms of the story, but I think with how they tell the story visually, through camera work and through the way they set up the scenes, I think that adds to that with how focused they are with their shot selection and imagery through settings and stuff like that. Which just also goes to show that, like you were saying, Jastin, these these people are on track to become some of those directors that can like redefine a genre. And it's really funny that that's happening at the same time when you've also got Jordan Peele redefining the genre. And you've got Ryan Coogler coming in with Sinners and redefining genres with this. Like, it's really kind of funny that when it comes to horror, it is the easiest genre to constantly redefine. Because, like we've talked about in other podcasts, how many subgenres of fucking horror are there? You know what I mean? Like, there's always, you like talk to these like diehard horror fans, and they're like, well, I've got my favorite space clown horror films, and then I've got my favorite, motorcycle chain gang horror films, and I've got my favorite vampire films, but I've also got my favorite new style vampire films, and I've got my favorite old school zombie films, but then I've got my favorite fast zombie films, and I've got my favorite Korean ghost films versus my favorite Japanese ghost films versus my favorite American ghost films versus there's 90 billion subgenres in horror that people constantly break stuff into, sometimes into such a hyper, like, realized version of it that it's like one movie. Well, like, I've got my favorite, if I'm doing my favorite horror movies like this, my favorite Candyman movie made in the 2020s is, of course, Candyman 4. And, it's stuff like that. Like, they get weirdly hyper specific with this. And that's why all of these things can be redefining genres within horror and not step on each other's toes. Because horror is such a wide spectrum of a genre. You can constantly redefine it and not take away from each other. Saying that Talk to Me redefined, aspects of horror does nothing to anything Jordan Peele's doing with his stuff. It doesn't affect it one bit.
And one of the things that is interesting to me is I'm pretty sure, I know Jordan Peele obviously, but I think these two guys, their main platform on YouTube is like humor as well. The fact that these guys are like, humor is their thing more than anything, and they're just doing this genre so well and redefining it for themselves, but like in a very I guess I would say profound way.
I mean, if you want a kind of summation of what their YouTube stuff was a lot like, there's a scene in this when somebody gets hit with a car. It's a lot of that shit. Because they do fighting stuff, like action sequences, like, these kind of like hyper versions of those types of things that, yes, can have a lot of humor elements in it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's that type of stuff. And especially on YouTube, that was like unheard of, being able to do stuff like that visually looked like it had production value when it doesn't. Just by their editing and their camera work and their thoughtfulness and putting together the shots, they were able to make stuff look really good on a YouTube budget. Which is funny because they were originally tapped to do Street Fighter, the next Street Fighter live action movie. They have since dropped from that, which I don't know where that's going. Last I heard, they were wanting to cast Jason Momoa in that, and I'm like, who the fuck is he going to play? I mean, I have no idea. I'm like, they might have dodged the bullet on that, because it feels like it's going to be a studio movie, or that like the studio really has their hands in it, and it's like they would hire these brothers to come do it, and then not let them do the thing that would make it good. Like, not let them do the thing that you hired them to do, that they would do a good job of, because you would want a medal. Be like, no, you have to cast Jason. Who the fuck is Jason Momoa gonna play in Street Fighter? From what I've heard, potentially Akuma. I don't like that. But I don't know. We'll see. That's a whole other thing. But yes.
What if they just like make it into a horror film? It's like Street Fighter.
Well, but no, they wanted
Supernatural
because of what they were doing with their YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of why they wanted to do that with them. But like I said, they've since dropped from that. One of their big thing too is they are from Adelaide, Australia, and their whole thing is too that they want to film everything in Australia. So I think that might have also hindered them too.
And they've been good at finding like these new talents that aren't in a lot but are incredible. Like the lead in Talk to Me, she's fantastic, and I don't think she's done a lot of big time things before then.
Well, it's probably because she's Australian.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying though. It's not necessarily that they're finding unknowns or anything like that. They're finding people that they know in Australia. You know what I mean? They're finding people we don't know type of scenario and stuff like that. And but anyway, that I spiraled there for a second. Hold on. Oh yes. That when it comes to like when we talk about these genre defining things and all these other things within context of this stuff, I do agree with you, Jastin, when you're talking about like they're kind of becoming this duo that kind of screams, you need to go watch my movie. Like you just get excited. You just find out they're doing another one. And you're like, can't wait to see it. Don't even know what it is yet. Don't know. Like Jordan Peele's next movie. We don't know anything. It's just Jordan Peele's next movie. You're like, cool, sign me up. Can't wait. It's that type of thing. And it's with this movie. Like, I don't know why with the marketing with this movie so weird. Why aren't they just going, guys, the people that brought you Talk to Me, this is their next movie. Go watch it. This is one of the most easily marketable movies ever. That's all you gotta say. And I don't feel like they're really doing that. Like I would see stuff for this and then see posters for it or whatever. And it's like, you actually have to go like pull up the movie in IMDb to find out who the fuck's directing it. And I don't understand. Talk to Me made a stupid amount of money. Like, you know, I think that's one of those movies that cost like $10 million. It made like 90 or something like that here in America alone. It made bukus of money for them. And I get everybody's like, oh, well, 90 million's not that. It is when you made it for 10. Anytime you quadruple your fucking budget and profit, come on. Success. And you can't tell me after a few years of that also being on streaming services, you can't leverage that? You can't leverage from the people that made Talk to Me? If you can't leverage that in your marketing, guess what? Get the fuck out of marketing. It's like the same people that keep writing Blade scripts for the MCU. Oh, we wanted a period piece with very little fighting. Why? You're telling me you can't do John Wick with vampires? You can't write that script? I don't know. Just rewrite the first Blade movie. Just update it. It's not that hard. Blade fight vampires. And yet they can't get that script figured out. It's the same with the marketing for this fucking movie. Which is dumb. This movie could have easily made $50 million in its opening weekend. Just by going, hey guys, it's the Talk to Me guys again. Idiots. But Sinners 2, it's coming. Got a bunch of geniuses in Hollywood. Anyway, recommendations and scores?
Yep.
Jastin, no, hold on.
Recommendations and score.
I was about to just jump right into it without even doing that. Anyway, Jastin, what you got?
All right. So, yeah, it's going to be a big recommend from me, I think is great. Um, and we've all talked about it. There are a few caveats as far as just some of the imagery. And like I said, you've got children in peril, and there are some kind of unsettling um, scenes and things like that. And I could see maybe there being some people that have problems with that, but I don't know. Another way of looking at it though is that like if what do you want out of a horror movie? Like aren't isn't this stuff supposed to scare us? Isn't it supposed to make us feel some sort of way? Isn't it supposed, aren't you supposed to be uncomfortable? Like are you coming into this R-rated movie expecting a comedy, or are you coming in expecting, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I just wonder what people want. And it
Well,
feels like there's just such a unclear line of what's too scary, what's not scary enough, what's too gory, what's not gory enough, this, that, and the other. I would say if you want to watch something effective at eliciting feelings out of you, then watch it. You know, if you just want to see something and walk out giggling with your friends, then go see Final Destination. You know, that's what that's for.
well,
But if you want something to really hit you, I just felt like this movie hit me different, man. I was on the edge of my seat. I was entertained, but it was a different kind of entertainment. And I think sometimes a horror movie you should walk out feeling a little uncomfortable, like, damn, or man, that was crazy that that happened, or man, the imagery made me squint a little bit. I think that's a good thing more than it is a bad thing.
well,
And maybe I'm in the minority with that, but to me, good horror movies make you feel something.
yeah, but it's because horror's such a wide ranging genre, though.
Mhm.
A lot of people want just jump scares. They just want to, those scares, little scares, little scary moments. They don't want to sit for like 45 straight seconds just feeling like their mouth's gonna explode. You know what I mean? And that's where you get that weird fine line. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And but I agree, because I think it's what we've talked about before. Horror is always effective when it affects you.
exactly. Like, isn't that what we want? So it would almost, so at least that's what I want. I can't speak for anybody else, but that's what I want. So it kind of be hypocritical for me to get on here and go, it was too much, or it might be too it's too unsettling, or it's too. I think it's good that it's. I mean, without, because then if it's not any of those things, then it's no different from, then what makes it different
And
if it's not eliciting that out of you, if you're not feeling anything from it, if it's not able to give you, like I said, that unsettling feeling is what this was king, and what is it is effective at doing. And to me, that is horror.
well,
Like some of it should be like that.
I mean, honestly, though, what people want for I'm not saying everybody, of course, but an in general thing with horror, though, I think when you have in general horror, people want a roller coaster. They want a few scares, they want a few little like exhilarating moments like that, but ultimately they want to leave the ride slash the movie, you know, feeling safe. And that it's like the difference between that and then like say bungee jumping, where it really is at any given point it there's that kind of death defying aspect of it. You know what I mean? It's like the difference in those types of thrills. You know what I mean? I think an in general moviegoer, when they want to watch a horror movie, like I said, they want the ride, they want a few little scares, all this, but ultimately they want to end it and walk out of the movie just going, "Ooh, wild time."
Yeah.
But then, like, the real thrill seekers are the ones that want what you want. You know what I mean? They want, they don't mind walking out going, "Fuck, that was fucked." You know what I mean? Like, and I think that, unfortunately, like I said, since horror is such a wide ranging genre, in that you get those wildly different expectations. And I think that that's why it is good to have movies like this, though. Because honestly, if you don't actually try to push, because we have how many decades now of horror films trying to, like, some of them pushing boundaries. If you don't actually do stuff like this, nobody knows what the boundary is anymore. You know what I mean? And so it's always nice to find where that is. To me, that's like kind of the fun thing about this. I can take some wildly insane violence. You get into weird teeth stuff, that actually gets me a little bit. It made me cringe a little bit. It was good to find that. That was fun. Like, I didn't know what I had, like where that part set with me anymore. You know what I mean? Like, what could truly sit there and really kind of fuck with me a little bit. It was good to find that line. That was fun.
Yeah. And I guess for me, like, I think that's just effective filmmaking and storytelling. I don't, I guess I'm just not the kind of horror fan that feels like I gotta feel this way when I walk out of it. Make me feel something, whatever the art is. And maybe that's just more of the art person in me. I don't care what the art is, but make me feel something. If it's laughter, okay, great. If it's making me think about something and contemplate something, great. If it's to make me feel unsettling, okay. But all of it is effective, you know? And I don't want to, I guess I'm saying all that to say is I don't want to, like, not give this movie the credit it deserves, because I'm comparing it to some shit that's really not on this level, and saying because I got a good because it gave me a different feeling than this movie, it's not as good, or that it loses points or anything like that. To me, this is super effective storytelling. This is like peak storytelling that we've seen this year. Like, using concepts that, yes, we are familiar with, but they are not the backbone of this movie. It's kind of like Sinners, right? Like, Sinners is a vampire movie. We've seen a million vampire movies. You know, yes, they want to eat you, the sunlight kills them, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not really the vampires that makes that movie, right? It's the way the story is told. It's the your relationship to the characters. It's the performances and the story that was told. And really, the vampire stuff is more in the background than it is the foreground. But it was everything else that Coogler was saying about music and this, that, and the other. That's what makes that movie great. This movie is the same way. Like, you got that possession stuff, you've got the possession stuff, the grief stuff, and that kind of stuff. But that's more of the background, but you don't even really get all of the information on that, because it's more of the background. But in the foreground is these characters and these emotions and this story that it's trying to tell, and it tells it in such an effective way that that stuff that we're familiar with really is background shit. That's not even really the shit that really matters in this film, you know? And I think that in and of itself, and still people are saying, man, you're going to cringe. You're going to feel like this. You're going to feel like that. They didn't even have to lean into any of that familiar shit. that shit's there. But what really does it for you is the other stuff that really defines what makes a good movie. The storytelling, the acting, the suspense, the full circle moments, the themes, those concrete things that really make a movie good is what makes this movie good. And I would hate for people to miss that because they are looking for the same kind of cookie cutter candy horror movie experience. Like, I kind of just want to say, fuck that. Put your big boy britches on and watch some grown man shit. You know, like get in here and really watch this and feel this. And I think if you watch it, I really think you will appreciate it more than you're gonna be like, oh, it was too gross or it was too unsettling. I never want to see it again. Like I can't wait to go watch it again because there were so many clues and things. Like the story is so well crafted that you know that there are clues and there are things that you probably missed that you probably enjoy on a second watch. There are things that probably clues and things that Sally Hawkins, that character, was giving off that maybe you didn't notice at the beginning, but then when you go back and watch it, you're like, oh man, that was a clue to this, or that was a giveaway, a dead giveaway of this, or, things like that. I think this is a fun movie. This movie makes for a fun discussion about things and its themes and what this meant or what this character was doing at this time, et cetera, what had to be going on, or what are some of the inner workings of this plan that maybe weren't on screen that we didn't see. I think that those are very fun, interesting conversations to have with this because the movie is so good and so well crafted. So, I mean, I just think people should take a chance on it, man. I think it's different enough and it elicits different kinds of feelings in you. But to me, this is exactly what a horror film is supposed to do. Like, it's about time we got to some horror movies that make you feel something beyond just that popcorn shit, you know? Maybe we're too desensitized to be scared in the way that like Freddy used to scare us in Friday the 13th and how Jason used to scare people. Maybe that's just not possible anymore, or the Scream movies or whatever. But maybe this is the new scaring you. Maybe this is the new way to elicit some feelings out of you. Maybe unsettling you is the new way to scare you. Because maybe we've just seen too many of the jump scares and all of that kind of stuff that we have forgotten how to really feel off and different and uncomfortable in these kinds of movies. But isn't that what made them popular in the first place? Did horror become popular because they were making us laugh and feel safe? Or did horror become popular because it was making us feel scared, making you unsettling you, making you cringe? Isn't that how it got popular in the first place? So if this is the avenue to get us back to some of that, because we've been so desensitized by the formulaic shit, I want people to go and see more of this kind of shit. I enjoyed having this feeling again because I haven't felt it in such a long time. So I don't know. Maybe that's in the eye of the beholder. I get what Sterling is saying. I'm not saying his viewpoint is invalid, but I think there's a very valid point to be made with the other side of it as well. So I would strongly recommend people see it because, man, I don't think any other horror movie you watch this year so far that we've seen is going to give you the kind of feelings that this gave you. Sinners didn't give me these kinds of feelings. Final Destination didn't give me these kinds of feelings. And those are good movies. I'm not making an inferior, superior argument, but this was definitely different. And I liked it, man. I wasn't sitting there going, I don't know if I want any more of this. I was sitting there going, fuck yeah, man. It's about damn time something made me feel like this. So I don't know. So with that, I'll just quit rambling about it and get, because I've got so much more to say when we get to spoilers. But yeah, it's a big recommend for me. Sure, there are those caveats, but I say give it a chance. I say it's so well crafted and so well made and so well acted. It's worth you giving a shot, even if you might feel a little uncomfortable. I think that's good. It's about time horror made us feel like this. It's been a long time. I'm gonna give it. I'll give it 93. Uh, man, there's so many horrible things I can say. I'll be nice in this part. We'll just go uh 93 circular massages to the head out of 100.
Heather, what about you?
Yeah, that was interesting, that part. I recommend it with obviously the disclaimer of like it's going to be very hard to watch for certain people. So if it's something that you can stomach, if it's the type of movie that you enjoy watching, you will certainly enjoy this one along with it. It is very much in that realm of great psychological thriller mixed with also normal like body horror, things like that. And yeah, so it's just, you have to be comfortable watching that. But if you are, I do recommend it. I think it's really, the script is so good, really well written, characters that are fleshed out decently well, given the story that we have overall here. And I mean, the visuals are so memorable. Like some of them are like kind of seared in my brain type of thing. Like what Sterling said, they're just very intense to watch, in a good way because of the fact that it is effective. It does the job it's supposed to do when you watch it. And yeah, I mean, there's just so many disturbing moments in this that it's hard not to just say that it's memorable. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think the acting is phenomenal. I think the storytelling is really well done. So yeah, I recommend it for those who can stomach that type of a movie for sure. Um, I think I also agree with you, Sterling, about its rewatchability because I would be one of those people that's like, oh, I know what part's coming up. Let me just skip through that or close my eyes during that part. I'm going to be that person just because there are some moments in this that are very, very hard to watch and sit through. Uh, but again, it's done so effectively. Like it adds to the story and it makes sense in the movie. It's not just like putting in really horrible, violent things for the sake of it. It adds to the story of what's happening. And so I'm not saying I would want less of it. I'm just saying as like an audience member, it's just hard to watch it. Yeah, just very seared in your brain, and that's why I say it's a very visceral type of movie. It just really, your reaction to it is going to be something else. But yeah, it is good for what it is. But yeah, the rewatchability, it's for me, there are too many parts of it that are a little bit too disturbing to watch again, where yeah, the rewatchability factor for me is maybe what I would say is like the biggest flaw of the film, if you will. So, which if that's the worst problem because of why it's not rewatchable for me, I think that means it just did its job. Like I said, like even more so confirms that it's doing the job it's trying to do with how it's making you feel. Yeah, it's really well written and really beautifully acted. I'm not quite as high as you are on it, Jastin, but I'm going to give it 80 grapefruits out of 100.
It took me a second. You said grapefruit. I was like, that's not the fruit. And then I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is very good. I'm curious to see where we go with this in spoilers because, you know, you were saying, Justin, that there's like a lot of hints and things like that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of confused by that because I don't know what they could have been hinting toward. To me, I thought this movie is actually fairly straightforward. So I'm just kind of curious on that because I just don't know where that was with that, like how we saw it differently. So I'm very intrigued by that. I do recommend it, but let's be real. You know the people, you know your friends, you know who can and can't watch this movie. You know what I mean? Don't tell your friend they get squeamish at paper cuts that they're going to love this movie and they should go watch it. They're just going to get mad at you. And while I do agree with you, Jastin, I think that this is one of those movies that more people should watch because more people do need to get challenged in that way. Because, like, what's more, you know, horrifying than being horrified by what's happening on the screen? Like, but you all, like I said, you know your friends that if you tell them to do that, they're just going to get pissed off at you. So maybe don't tell them. Or if you do, give them a caveat or something. But I think people should watch this. I think people should feel uncomfortable with this. I think that at least one time you need to watch, for lack of a better phrase, somebody chew a knife. Everybody should at least one time in their life watch somebody chew a knife. And spoiler alert, this movie has that for you.
It sure does.
Everybody should see it once. You don't know. You don't know how it's going to make you feel. Go find out. Heather knows how it makes her feel now.
I sure do.
Everybody should know whether or not everybody should know how they would feel watching somebody chew a knife. So go watch this movie. But, you know, don't lose some friendships over it. I'll give it. I thought I was going to be lower than everybody. I'm not. Heather always surprises me with some of the stuff. Because she's like, I love it. It's great. And then goes lower than I think she will. So that's when I'm like, I liked it. I liked it less than everybody. And then I'm weirdly higher than Heather. I think we did that with Final Destination. Yeah. I think we did that with Thunderbolts. I think we've done that with a few movies where I'm just really surprised where Heather's score lands.
I don't know what's going on with me. Yeah, it is one of those where what mostly affects my score not being higher, it's just it's very hard to sit through. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great one-time watch, but it's very hard to sit through it. And I think that's why it's one of those where it doesn't affect, it doesn't change how good the movie is. But if we're talking about like preference of something that I would like to watch and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's the biggest reason I'm not a little bit higher. And I know that it sounds weird, because it's like, oh, well, how you feel about it shouldn't change like what you think the movie is score wise. It doesn't. It's just, I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a good movie. And I think a B is it's that felt right to me, at least today.
No, I just thought you'd be higher. That's all.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be sitting like around like an 88 at least or something. Still a B. So I guess caveat for me, apparently I didn't like it a little less than everybody else. Liked it a little less than Jastin. And only Jastin. Apparently I liked it more than Heather. I'll give it an 85. 85 demon-bellied kids out of 100. The CineScore 86. Spoilers, which weirdly enough, that's the same exact score we gave Thunderbolts. But to your for your clarification, Jastin, it is higher than Final Destination, at least. So we did that right.
Was it?
Yeah, we gave Final Destination 84.
Okay.
So I was just saying, like, I just see the score right here in front of me in my big list of scores. I was just wanting to let you know it's still higher than Final Destination, even if we didn't all come close to your score. So that's all. I just want to let you know that. Spoilers?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I think first and foremost, I mean, talk about that little scene a little bit. How to make you feel. Heather, how did you feel watching a 10-year-old child chew on the blade of a knife?
Well, I didn't feel good, Sterling. It
Vertically.
did not feel good.
Vertically chew on the blade of a knife.
Yeah.
Not even horizontally, no, vertically.
Yeah. In case I forgot. Right. Thank you for reminding me that it was vertically.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's one of those scenes for me that was just really hard to sit through, because just the sound design and the acting choice and just the way that scene plays out, it's so you feel you're in it. You feel like you're just there, like watching it happen. And I think that's kind of the great thing about like what this movie does do well is audience sake. You're drawn in so quickly to this world and stuff like that is why like it just like I remember like having this reaction of like, no, don't do it, at the same time of like no, I can't watch him do that. And like somewhere in the middle there, just not having words to say, really. Just more like facial expressions of like, this is rough. Like, I can't believe that they did this. It's like shock and awe mixed with uncomfortable because it's just so in your face and like very hard to watch. Yeah, definitely haven't seen that in anything else before. That would be a first for me. And I think that's why, like, the way that they do it, you do not see it coming. Like, at least, I mean, you knew something was going to happen with the knife because he's like, oh, don't take the whole thing. I just thought it was going to be like, oh, because of how he's holding it, he's just going to be cutting his hand as he's eating this fruit. And that is not what happened. So, yeah.
Jastin, how did that make you feel?
Man, I love the scene. Like I was kind of alluding to earlier in my thing, maybe this is the new type of jump scare we talked about in what shitty horror movie was that? The Nun 2, about how ineffective it was.
I was not expecting Nun 2 in this podcast. Just
Well, there you
Nun
go.
2.
I was ready for this one, boy. I gotta explain my 93. Y'all went so low. I gotta explain this 93.
I gave this motherfucker an 85. That ain't low as shit.
It wasn't high enough. I gotta explain my 93 here. Like, so we talked about in the shitty ass Nun too, how ineffective it was with its jump scares and how it didn't understand the basic principle of creating a scary atmosphere and creating a jump scare. And we were talking about how, what does an effective horror movie do? It lets your guard down. It makes you think that you're not, they're effective at let your guard down. And just when you think it's okay to relax, or you think that, okay, this is just kind of a simple bonding scene between Andy and Ollie or whatever, they get you, you let your guard down. And he did grab that knife weird as he was eating the thing, eating the cantaloupe or whatever it was. And like that camera turn was great because he's grabbing it weird and you just hear Andy go, okay, let's get you a plate. And he's reaching down to get him a plate. And when the camera comes back, I mean, he's just munching on that thing. And you couldn't help but go, oh shit. Like, I think in the theater, everybody, because there were some people in there I was watching it with on Monday or whatever. And like, everybody just kind of went, oh, everybody kind of had like a vocal reaction to it. But what was great about it was how it looked. Like the camera stays there with him. And I think a lot of that was practical effects and the sound design of his teeth just clashing with the blade of that knife. And you're seeing the blood and everything. And it's just, he is just tearing his mouth up. But it wasn't even just the visuals. It was the sounds and the fact that the camera was just there. But also what is great about it is that there's no way you could have seen that coming. Just like you said, Heather, you're thinking at worst, he might cut himself. Or you were wondering, would the kid grab the knife and come at him? Everything you probably had in your mind of what the worst case scenario was, that had to be a surprise. That there's no way that anybody who before that would have saw that coming. And the fact that it made you jump, the fact that it made you cringe, and the fact that you couldn't see it coming, it's a jump scare. It's kind of what it is. It's just, but it's done in a completely different way that is unconventional from anything we've ever seen.
I mean, I get what you're saying about calling it like the new jump scare or whatever, but one of the things I appreciated about this movie is it had no jump scares. Like traditional jump scares, they don't exist in this movie.
Yeah.
It relies on everything else.
Or maybe there was one whenever Piper was running and then Oliver surprises her around the corner or whatever. That might be the only one. It did the good-oon and he was there or whatever. It kind of, I think that was one. But that's the only one I can remember.
I would say that's close to one, but I don't even know if I'd call it. That's just like the running around the corner. Like, oh, I guess so. I mean, I guess traditionally the running around the corner into a bad guy thing is technically a jump scare.
Because she had avoided Sally Hawkins.
Yeah.
So they created that moment of, okay, maybe she's out of danger right now. Then all of a sudden he was there. It feels like it counts, but I get what you're saying.
That's close. I mean, yeah, but still one in a whole ass horror movie in 2025. It's a crazy ratio. I like what you both said though. What sells that scene to me isn't what it does visually. It's the sound. Visually, whatever. The sound, that's actually what got me. Was not visually what it is. And that's the thing about it that I kind of like what you said, Heather. You're like, oh, I just closed my eyes. Would that really help you? You're going to hear it.
That's true.
Because
That's just your natural reaction to do, though, when you're like, I don't want to see it, but you're right. You still hear it.
like, that's what almost makes that scene inescapable. Is because, like, are you going to sit there and, like, close your eyes and put, like, earmuffs on and all this other shit for that one scene? Because I could handle the visuals of it all day. It's the sound. That's what got me.
It reminds me of the sound design from Evil Dead Rise. Like, I think the sound
chewing
design
the
of
glass.
that, the glass chewing, it's similar to that for me as far as like the cringe feeling that you get when you just hear what's happening.
Yeah. And I think that's what is the most effective part of that scene. Is the sound. Because I think you can escape a lot of it visually. You can't escape sound. Unless unless you curl up into a ball and like plug your ears and close your eyes and just like, you know what I mean? Sound is what's inescapable in those scenes. Because if you could just close your eyes and avoid it, how effective is it? You know, it's a scene, man. It's a scene. And I know a scene that got a lot more people later, but like I said, visually, it doesn't affect me, was when he's chewing on the wood. He's breaking his teeth on the wood. That didn't affect me as much because it didn't sound as weird. Like, it didn't, you know what I mean? It didn't sound as like fucked. Because it's the metal on enamel that fucks your head. Enamel on wood just, it's like chewing on a popsicle stick. It ain't that bad.
And see, with that one too, it's like the whole thing of it is, yes, like the sound plays a part, but that one, I think visually, like my concern in that scene was that he was going to like just completely knock all of his teeth out or just something crazy in his mouth was just going to be. That's the part that I was like, that's what got me for that part of it.
That's what you want if you're one of the people, because he's a eating demon. If he doesn't have no teeth, he's not as dangerous. Can't eat.
True. But I mean, and then, then it's followed by him just eating his own skin. Like,
I forget Heather
was, man, that was great. Like, and that's why, like, and then also just the way it was shot, how close the camera is to him. Like, I think if that shot, him eating the wood, if that shot some steps away from the actor, maybe that doesn't look as bad. You know, I think it's the choice to have that camera right up on where the wood is, and it's so close and it's so visceral, and you're hearing him bite down and crunch, and you're seeing the pieces of the wood, and you're seeing the teeth just moving all out of place, and then the sounds of him crunching that, and then you're kind of like, well, we saw him chew a knife earlier, that isn't that bad, and then all of a sudden he just starts eating his arm.
That didn't affect me one bit.
And a whole piece just kind of comes off with his arm, and it's like, damn, bro, this fool eating himself. He out here eating himself for real. Ollie out here eating, dog.
I mean, I don't know.
Not in the good way.
That didn't affect me one bit. Him biting himself didn't affect me. Didn't faze me one bit.
Boy, Ollie was eating, bro.
Because I do forget, Heather, you're not as desensitized to visual violence as somebody like me and Jastin.
I guess not, yeah.
You have people biting and ripping out flesh.
I mean, and
I've seen
like
97 zombie movies that do that shit.
That's the thing too, is like, it's not like I haven't seen zombie movies or seen something like that happen before, but like, it also is, like we've said, it catches you off guard because you don't think he's going to do it. But it's also like the way it's shot, and like, he just goes in with zero hesitation. He doesn't like have like a reaction of like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I need to eat something. He's in for it. He just cares none about it. And you just see like just the string of his skin just like It's so gross.
And also, it's not even just what he was doing to himself. The reason why that scene is also so effective is because you're thinking about the other characters that you're rooting for and going, how long are they going to be able to control this motherfucker? Like, how long is Sally Hawkins, the Laura character, how much longer before this is out of control? And who else is about to get ate? You know, that's another element of it that I think makes it even more effective. It's not just the effectiveness of him doing it to himself, because by this point, we know what the deal is. We know there's a demon inside this kid. We know that that's going on. But I think it's that harbinger of, if he's eating all of this shit like this and uncontrollable and tore up this whole room and stuff like that, who in this story is about to get ate? You know, it's that harbinger of what's to come or what could possibly happen to our other characters also makes that super effective, because by that time he wasn't controlling himself at all. Now he's just eating what's in sight. So, you know, it had escalated by that time, is what makes that scene so effective.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not effective. I'm just saying, like, I can see a whole movie of that. That won't get me. You know what I mean? It didn't elicit the same feelings as Knife Bite. But no, it's one of those things where, and this is why I'm going to kind of cut myself a little short here, because I want to go to you, Jastin, because I'm really kind of curious about some things, because to me, I don't know. I thought this movie was very straightforward. I didn't really think there was any twists and turns, really. I thought this was kind of A to B story. And I don't know, I wasn't surprised by any of it, really, outside of like those, like the specific scene of like chewing knife, you know, like that surprised me. But like, narratively speaking, I thought this movie, I don't know, I had no surprises, really. I guess before we jump into that, though, real quick, my final little thought, though, is this movie kind of breaks some rules when it comes to horror movies. Horror movies tend, even in the most vile of movies, they tend to avoid fucking up kids. This movie had no problems doing that. You have Oliver getting fucked up the whole movie, biting knives, biting tables, biting self. You have Billy, who, yes, I get is a few weeks away from being 18, whatever, but still relatively young. He's still a kid. You know, he gets the fuck beat out of him, almost hit by a car, gets straight up fucking drowned right in camera. You know, you see a small child just get punched in the face by this lady. Like, most horror movies tend to, you know, stay away from doing that type of thing to kids the whole time. You know, even if you look at like the first Chucky, you know, Child's Play, where, yeah, it's the kid, but like, what does Chucky end up doing? Focusing on the adults. You know what I mean? They tend to stay away from doing those types of acts of violence openly to children for a whole movie. You know, you might allude to it and all this other stuff, but they rarely ever focus on violence to kids. And I think that that's because it's given, or it is seen as like an extra act of depravity. But I think, and the reason why it works in this movie is because ultimately you have a kid also be the final girl. Like, you have one of them survive and overcome, you know, what happens and stuff like that. I think that that's what kind of softens the blow of watching, you know, loads of violence happen to kids for a whole movie.
Yeah, and both of the kids survived. You know,
yeah, you're right. You're right. Oliver survives too.
Survive. So
the two youngest kids,
that definitely helped.
On top of it, it's the two youngest. You know, so that does help. Yes, I forget. Yes, Oliver does live at the end of this. So yeah, that helps. Yeah, I'm curious what you were going to say though, Justin, with what you were talking about, how you wanted to jump into this with spoilers. So what you got?
Okay. And um, I'm not sure when you were saying there weren't any surprises. I don't know if you're just talking about surprises as far as like the narrative or um like the narrative or things like that, or are you saying there weren't really any surprises as far as what, like, I guess Laura was doing, or what the or what um
Either
like
or.
was happening, I guess what her motives were by the time we got to the end of it. I'm not sure if you were talking about when you said no surprises. Are you just talking about just in the overall story, like you're
All of
saying
it.
it just
Yeah.
got from point A to point B and it was straightforward? Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Yeah, like once it was kind of like going, to me, this is like that normal, like I said, it's a movie I've seen a lot. It's the somebody loses somebody, so they mess with supernatural forces to try to undo it, to bring somebody back from the dead. But it's like the demon promise of it all of, things don't always go as you expect. There's always the extra price. There's always all the, the extra stuff. Is the extra price worth it? She's essentially fucking up Oliver at the expense of getting back her daughter. She has to kill the girl too to get back her daughter. She has to fucking kill her older brother to get back the daughter. All of those things. I don't know. Once it was going, it went all the places I thought it was going to go. Because to me, that's that movie. So, like, narratively speaking, I didn't see any twists. I didn't see any changes with like what her goals were and all this other stuff. It all tracked with what it was just kind of showing me. I wasn't surprised by any of it. So like later in the movie when it's like, oh yeah, this is the ultimate evil plan, I was like, yeah, because that's the plan you told us the whole movie. I don't know. I just didn't perceive it that way.
Okay. And I think and I think just with the elements you're talking about, yeah, I could probably agree with some of that because pretty much she's watching the video and the video pretty much word for word explains this is what she's trying to do. So even if you hadn't figured it out by then, there was a point in the film purposely where they sort of gave you all those answers, and there's still a whole lot more film after that. So
Well,
then the question is not really what is she trying to do? The question becomes, is this going to work or not? Who's going to survive or who isn't going to survive? Like what exactly is going to happen now that we completely understand the variables at play? So, but I get what you're saying as far as the straightforward narrative. What I'm talking about is just all of the fun little things, and especially like some of the allegories and things that just add to the quality of the story beyond that stuff, you know. Um, and so I don't think the surprising elements are in the possession or the experiment that she was trying to do or any of that kind of familiar horror stuff. I think that stuff is pretty straightforward. But the surprises are in the narrative, kind of the other things you talked about. The fact that we're dealing with kids. So, like you said, that sudden punch to the face was a surprise.
yeah, yeah. Like there's individual scenes that are surprising. Like I said, knife chew, punching the little girl straight in the eye. Some of that, yes. But I was just like, I thought you were referring to like it's like a twist or something like that. And like you pieced that together. That's what I thought you were saying. And so that's why I was confused. Because I was
Yeah,
like,
because there's not really a plot twist. Or
yeah, because I
anything.
mean, I put it together fairly early because when she's like, my daughter was blind. Why is the older brother around? Like, I was like, and the titles bring or get her back or bring her back. I was like, she's going to try to get her daughter back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was what, first 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, she's going to get her daughter back. Like, that's just what you know what I mean? Like, that to me was that whole thing, especially when because they open the movie with just some occult stuff. You know what I mean? And so I was like, yeah, it's that, you know? And so like, I guess I misinterpreted what you were saying by that as when you were talking about like surprises and little things like that and uncovering stuff. I thought you were talking about like uncovering the twist of the story. And I was just confused by that because I was like, oh, I thought it was fairly straightforward. So I misinterpreted what you were saying by that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because when I was talking about clues and things like that, I just think it's fun unraveling just all of these elements of the story and all of these things that sort of came full circle, like like the whole thing with the circle and how and just visually how they played with that with different things, whether it was used to calm the kid down, whether it was the barrier um, that that this possession was done, and that was kind of the area in which the possession could take place. But it's also like this great allegory and metaphor for like this grief and this and sort of this what Laura was trapped in, like after the death of her daughter and everything. And it also kind of represented her inability to get outside of that. You know, she couldn't escape that grief, which is why this is happening in the first place. So, like,
well, and it's also the brother too. He's trapped in that circle of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that circle of trauma.
He's traumatized by the dad, but then extra traumatized by the dad when the dad's dying, and then can't even take a shower because of that.
Yeah. You know? And then all the manipulation that she was doing because of that stuff, because it's clear that obviously Andy being there wasn't a part of the plan. And she tried to get, you know, to have them split up and not have him there. But obviously this thing was on a time crunch. How many blind kids that age can you adopt? And we were on a time constraint because this had to happen because of the weather had to play a factor. We had already done half of it because we kidnapped Ollie and implanted the demon into him. So you got the sense that this needed to happen. And so she's like, well, I'll just have to deal with both Andy and Piper coming there.
Well, and it's the fact that you only have a few months, according to the lore in the movie, was the idea that the soul's trapped for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's something I put together well after the movie. Her daughter would have had to have died within a few months of this movie. Because, yes, while she froze the body to preserve the body, to give the entity something to eat, the lore itself that she establishes is that the soul's only trapped there for a few months.
Yeah. So it kind of puts into perspective the time crunch that she was on and why she needed to deal with Andy anyway. And then when you find out that she was a counselor and had worked there for 20 years and stuff like that, I like all of that because then you understand the methodology of kind of what she was trying to do to sort of drive Andy crazy and try to and then reporting this stuff back to the adoption counselor people, hoping to get him in trouble, hoping to make reasons to get him out of there, or maybe get him to sort of in a way, remove himself because of all of these crazy things that are happening to him, like making him think he was wetting himself, because she knows that that is a trauma response for a lot of young people and stuff. So doing that and then documenting it, but also fucking with him psychologically. Or like when they were at the funeral and she was like, kiss your father on the lips and shit.
Man, that's when you
Like,
tell her to fuck right off. When she's like, kiss her lips. Kiss his
like
lips.
she really is horrible, man. Like she's horrible. But what's great about she is awful and terrible. But what's great about the movie too, I think, though, is that you saw these moments, and Sally Hawkins just played the character beautifully. But you saw these moments of humanity and like motherhood and stuff like that. And you could tell that this was a woman that had completely changed after the death of her daughter. Like you could just tell that she went off the deep end and just couldn't recover from that and just couldn't bear this life. And then there was no man in the house. So it really was just her and her daughter, and her being alone after the daughter's death and having to sit with that and think about that. And then all of this stuff, you can just tell that changed her. But every now and then that person that she used to be would creep in, or she would have this, what seemed like a good moment with them. And so you saw the inklings of what this woman was, but also as the movie's going, she's getting darker and darker and deteriorating into this other person that is just desperate to get her daughter back. And I thought that Sally Hawkins just played that beautifully. So the surprises may not have been in the demonic shit or the possession shit, or I got to trade one for one. And what really makes it different is that all of that seemed like background stuff. That's what she was doing, but she wasn't having any kind of real necessary, but it wasn't about her moral conundrum with that. It wasn't like she was the principal character and we're following her and it's on this quest to bring somebody back to life and she learns this lesson about it or something like that. That's background stuff. And what's in the foreground is her and her kind of relationship to these two foster kids and them trying to figure it out, and what are they going to do? How are they going to escape this woman who has become this? I think was more the meat of this story than the figuring out the experiment or the demon or the code. We don't get to find out what the code is. That's not what the code is. That's not important. We don't get to find out what kind of demon was in Ollie, because that's not important. It's like those elements to me are minuscule to the story of how are these kids going to get out of this situation where they are directly being brought into a situation like this. How is all of this going to play out? And to me, that's where the unpredictability is. They gave you that this woman is trying to do an experiment, you got that around the second act. So really, the journey is, how is this all going to play out? And I think that's where it was a little more unpredictable in that way. And some of the stuff I didn't see coming. Like, I didn't really think that I thought Andy was going to make it. I really didn't see him dying. I thought both of them were going to make it out of this somehow. I thought that if anybody died, it would be, and like whenever the counselor came with him, I figured, okay, she's dying, but somehow Andy is probably gonna, I thought maybe she would capture him or something, but I didn't think that she was gonna kill him, I just thought that was going to play out a different way.
And feed him to the demon.
Yeah.
She fed a
and
little
fed
bit
him
of
to the demon.
She fed at least a little bit to him. That's how he could do the Andy voice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which was fucked up. But damn, that was kind of sad, man. You know, that was kind of sad. I was rooting for Andy, you know. So that was that was rough when that happened. Also, what was cool is everybody that died in this, there was an association to water, which is another cool thing about this. The dad died in the shower. The her daughter, Sally Hawkins' daughter, died in the pool. Andy was drowned in the water, and the other council lady died. It died too while it was raining. So that was interesting too. Like all the stuff they were doing with water in this, I think was great too. And rather than water being this cleansing thing, like it is in most horror movies and stuff like that, normally water is like, you know, the cleansing, the purity, the washing, the redemption. You know, normally water's associated with those things, especially in horror. But it was interesting here that it was kind of like part of the tool driving the grief and the death. You know, water was kind of the harbinger of death in this. You know, even when Andy saw his father, and his father was like, she's gonna die in the water and everything, like die when it's raining and stuff like that. Water was like hella bad in this, you know, way better than the dark water in the Jennifer Connelly movie. You know what I'm saying? So,
Jastin, you son of a bitch.
Sorry.
Why would you bring up that movie?
And The Nun too. What am I doing to this?
Do you remember in The Ring 2? After they fight all those deers with their car, and she's giving her son a bath, and he then all the water shoots to the ceiling. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Ruin your day too.
But no, but anyway, all those but anyway, I just thought that was neat, you know, just interesting how they tied up. And I think that's like the last thing I'll really say is like, I think that's like the best thing about this movie. Like they were really cooking with this script because almost everything that they set up, you get some sort of payback for. And I think that's why I really think this movie is superior quality, and because the writing is so good. And that's why I gave it the score I gave it. Anything that you hear, just like when early in the film, when we hear Andy, okay, there was an incident, he got in trouble when he was 8 years old. And you're thinking, well, he was an 8-year-old kid. I mean, you know, troublemaking kid. It could have been anything. But even that winds up being super important because you find out he hit Piper, and the reasoning for that, and the stuff behind his father, and him on this journey to redeem that moment when he was 8 years old. And so him dying to protect Piper means even more, even though this character didn't live, it means even more in that way. But it all started with just what seemed like a small statement of, oh, he got in trouble real bad when he was 8 years old. But I love how we came and paid that off. Her cranking up the loud music whenever they first entered the house, she's got the loud music on and they can't hear her and everything like that. And then you come to find out throughout the movie, whenever she was messing with Ollie or trying to do something with Kim, a lot of times she would turn up the music to kind of mask the noises and stuff like that. So I think at the beginning, something probably was going on with Ollie, which is why when they went out to the pool, he was just standing there in the middle of that pool. He had the mark on his face, like what we saw in the videos. So like, I like how you think about it retroactively and like you begin to see all these little things. That's probably why she wasn't at the door, because she was probably doing some shit with Ollie. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and so like little things like that, just little clues. And then later, when she's messing with Ollie in there, I guess trying to tend to his wounds and everything, making him calm down. She turns up the music there, and just so like I love all the little continuity things it was doing. The little white lie that they told about Ollie's hair and that it was red and everything like that. At first it felt like when you first see that and then you see Andy kind of going with it, it almost felt like a bonding moment between Andy and Laurie as they were just kind of lying and trying to make the situation seem better than what it was for Piper. And it felt like maybe they kind of bonded in that moment because they both kind of affirmed the white lie to not be so mean about Ollie's appearance, but also to make it more comfortable for Piper. But I love how in the third act that comes back and Piper remembers that they told that lie or whatever. And so then when she touches Ollie and feels his head, and then Laurie lies to her again, I love how that triggers something and she realized she was in danger. So like, I love all of these little paybacks that they just did throughout the movie. And there are just so many of them. Or like when she said, when she's talking to Andy and she's like, I would give anything to hear my daughter's voice. And then at the end of the movie, that comes into play. Like, there are just so many things like that in this movie. Like, you could just go down the line. And it was almost like anything they fed you, you almost have to store it and think about it because something about it comes into play later in the movie to help that pay off. So this is another movie that was like king of setting things up and paying them off. And it just did that so incredibly effectively. So yeah, man, I just really enjoyed this film, man. And that's where I think it has some value in a second watch, because there are so many full circle things and payoffs and things that it was giving you to kind of better understand the characters, better understand moments, and better understand kind of where the story winds up. I think that's what it's fun to do with it. That's what's fun to do, is go back and pick some of those things apart.
No, that's fair. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of this stemmed from like me just being confused by what you meant by some of that. Heather, what you got?
Yeah, I did also notice about the water stuff. Like, more so, I specifically just noticed it with obviously the way Andy died, because I actually thought that was because there was gonna be a plot twist of like, oh, she's gonna actually just try to use Andy instead as this conduit, or as the to try to bring the daughter back. That's what I thought they were going to do with that, because of how much she was emphasizing right before that, like, you have to die the same way, you have to die by being drowned and all of this. So that's why I thought they were going that route, but they didn't, and that's completely fine. It is still just interesting though that they used the same method to kill him. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was an interesting element. And I also really love that Piper was smart. like she realized, well, once she realized, which she was a little bit later to like believing it and all of that, but once she did catch on to it, like, she tried to get the hell out of there like the second she caught on. And there was no hesitation. There was no, like, she was just like, I gotta get out of here. Like, she knew right away. And I love the moment of realization that you see in her too, of like, something's off here. And it was just really well done. And also the way that they shot like her finding Andy's body was really well done, because you don't see him, and you can really only leave to your imagination what he might look like and what might have been done to him after the drowning, when Ollie, whatever Ollie does to him. I think that that's a really effective way to do that, because we are also very invested in Andy at this point, and we want Andy to survive. And I really was hoping he would too. And, you don't get to see like the full reveal of what he looks like. And I think that was cool from the perspective of Piper can't actually see that either. And the audience, it's really just like you're seeing everything else Ollie's done. You're only imagining what he might look like. You know what I mean? And the fact that she has to like, she's feeling his teeth to like recognize him. And I don't know if that's just because she's like, oh, I know he has braces, let me make sure this is him. Or if it was just like, I don't know how to recognize anything else on him right now because of how badly he's messed up. I don't know. But either way, it just leaves so much to your imagination of what actually like he looked like at the end there. So, which is a haunting thing in itself, because again, they don't reveal it. So in your mind, it's just like, what does he look like? What did they do to him after that? And I just thought that was a really, really cool way to shoot that specific scene.
Oh, and to that point, you're making me think about something, and now I'm like, what you're saying is right, but there was a clue to it, because before she discovers him, Ollie is in there calling out to her using Andy's voice.
Yep.
So I didn't in the moment put two and two together, but just thinking about it now, looking at it and hearing you talk about that, that was almost like, oh shit, he wouldn't have been able to do that had he not eaten something on him. So him being able to mimic his voice like that and calling out to her Piper was the clue that he had been eaten, that, or at least some of him had been eaten, because there was no way that he wouldn't have been able to mimic that voice. But everything you said is, I didn't even put that together the moment it happened. But now that you say that, I'm like, damn, dude, that was a clue too, that something that he had happened to him.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, just a little bit ago that, when you were talking about Andy, dying, and I was like, and eaten, because that was the whole thing of the monster being able to mimic him is related to whether or not he's digested some of them.
Yeah. Because it took me watching it too a minute to realize, like, oh, that's right. And it was also because I was still in that state of, did she use Andy to become this new thing that she's trying to do? So in my head, I'm like, is he the new conduit really? And so that's why he's speaking to her. But no, it wasn't that. So it took me a minute to realize, oh, okay, yeah, he is being eaten somehow. But but it is so clever though, because you're kind of in the same place that Piper is with all of it too, of like, what's happening? What's going on? What does this mean? Like, and I like that, because audience doesn't know more than she does, really, like, for when she first finds out, so I just think that's a really clever way to do that. But yeah. And then also, like, man, the thing that actually was the most horrendous thing in this movie, it really was Laura's manipulation. Like, she was masterclass manipulator. And you're right with the whole, like, you see these moments where, like, okay, like, she's bonding with Andy. They're finally getting on the same page with something, and they're actually opening up to each other. The whole scene of them sitting back to back, and he's telling her about, what happened with his dad, and she's sharing her stuff. Like, you feel like, okay, she's on board with it. To immediately go later that night and still do her bullshit. Like, that's just kind of, it's crazy, because she's just so good at that manipulation and making you like feel for her, because you do understand that she's grieving and she is so desperate that she's doing whatever she can to get her daughter back. But you realize that, like, she has no, like, she doesn't basically have time for feeling for anybody else's issue. She's like, I don't care that I'm using you when you're in this state of vulnerability and pain, because I just need what I need, because my pain is more important. And that's what it feels like. And it's so horrible. Like, imagine somebody like forcing you to kiss your abuser. Like, that is just the most horrid thing that you can think of. You know what I mean? Even on the lips, especially, but at all. Like, and the fact that, yes, she didn't know the situation at the time that he was an abuser, but I'm like, if you are a counselor, which, was she really? I don't know if she really was. If you were somebody, or what she said she was, what did she say she was? Counselor or something?
Well, but no, the Wendy, the lady also said she was, though.
Okay. Yeah. But
and not only a counselor,
the best.
She was a counselor for 20 years, and she said she was the best counselor we've ever had.
That's right.
So she was good at it. She wasn't she was a 20-year vet and was the best. So,
which is also that terrible thing of like using your skill against people that you're supposed to be helping. But also it's that thing of like, okay, even if you didn't like, you weren't told the situation, it's like, if with the job that you did for that long, you didn't pick up on any like clues or behaviors that would make you realize like, this is why you shouldn't be forcing this kid to do this. She's like, oh, but it's tradition. And like, and the thing is, it's so hard too, because of how she plays it. It's like, I don't think she was naive enough to not know that there was something there and a reason why he was so like standoffish. I think she didn't care. I think she was just like wanting to just test the waters to see how far she could make him go, how much she could manipulate him, you know, because she's like also like patting his back, like, it's okay, it's fine, it's tradition, you know, you got to do it, you're going to feel sorry if you don't. And like, you feel like she's, in his mind, she's probably just being reasonable because she doesn't know the situation. But at the same time, she totally does. On some level, she has to know. You know what I mean? Like, it is not that hard to pick up on behaviors or like, you know, posture even, or anything like that of like, what are you doing? Like, it's horrendous behavior. And that's actually what makes her character and like everything she's doing more terrifying, beyond what she's actually physically doing to this poor kid and all of these kids. It's the mental manipulation of these vulnerable kids in this terrible state of, they've just lost their father, they were about to be split up, like knowing that she has this power over them because, you know, she's the one who's going to be able to give the recommendation of if Andy could take the girl or not after that. So she's thought like 30 steps ahead already, and just using it against this poor minor. It's just awful. And, you know, just telling her that vulnerable story about like, you know, he never hurt Piper, but he would always hit me. And then to later use it and say it in front of Piper when he specifically was like, I don't want her to know that. And she just puts him in a position to where he has to just do that, you know? And I'm just like, this lady is like infuriating. Like, it's like, yeah, I understand you're grieving and you are so desperate and grasping at anything, but you are so infuriating because it's like, you've just lost sight of any semblance of being a nurturing person because all you care about is just this one goal, that you've lost sight of why you like what you're doing here. You know what I mean? And, you know, you've abandoned everything you stood for when you were a counselor, abandoned everything you stood for as a mother because you're so at this desperate place. And it's incredibly well written for that reason too. But it's just like horrible to see the way, especially that she treats Andy and Ollie. But, you know, it's just, that to me is also what makes it so hard to watch this movie, because you're just like, oh, the manipulation is so hard to like see her do that to these poor vulnerable kids, you know. But everything all plays together, it all plays a part, and it's part of why she got as far as she did in her plan. And you can only imagine like what manipulation was she using on Ollie before she, you know, used him as this conduit of whatever. So it's just crazy behavior. Um yeah, and then just to be like, I am so desperate for my own daughter to come back that I am going to hit this other child that just straight in the face, just to pit her against her brother so that I can get what I want. Incredibly wild behavior. Like she just doesn't care, because to her, she's not seeing it as wrong behavior because it's getting her what she wants. It's insane, but it's just really interesting to see. You know what I mean? Because it's like in a very lesser form, there are people that do stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? They're just like, I don't actually care who I'm hurting in the process as long as I'm getting what I want. And it's crazy. So, yeah. But it's also.
And really quickly with that hitting, another thing that kind of made that a surprise was because up until then, there seemed like there was a stark contrast between how she was treating Piper and how she was treating Andy. There, because, and you knew that Piper reminded her of her daughter and everything, but like it really seemed like she was genuinely trying to warm up to and bond with and be more of a mother figure to Piper. And then Andy, it just definitely seemed like the whole time that she was trying to drive a wedge, like you say, and get rid of him and everything like that. And that character is very complex because, yes, she was trying to complete this plan, but I do think that maybe there was a moment that she might have considered, maybe I don't have to do this and I can just keep Piper. I really think she was still kind of straddling the fence with Piper, because that scene where they were in that room or in the, I don't know where they were, green room or somewhere, and she kind of was asking her, you know, would you consider staying with me and everything?
Yeah.
And she puts the cardigan on her that her daughter used to wear and all that. And would you consider staying with me? I guess you could argue that all that was just more manipulation. Like this experiment was going to happen either way. But I almost wonder if that was her maybe considering the possibility of, maybe I don't have to do this. Maybe she can stay here and I can be her mother, and maybe this doesn't have to happen. I wonder if that was her, if that was maybe the other side of her conflicted with the side of her that is like, no, I got to get this done. I wonder about that with her and Piper.
Yeah. No,
I don't know.
That's valid, because, and that's why it's such a greatly performed character too, because you're just like, I see that you actually do care about Piper, but I also see that like you're just the lengths you'll go to, like, you know, I'm with you on that. She's just such an interesting person. I mean, and even just like any choice she makes, like also the choice of like going to a funeral and wearing every color you can think of except for black was an interesting choice. And I thought it fit her character because of her. It's like she doesn't have a self-awareness, but she does at the same time. Like I think that everything she does, she knows exactly what she's doing, but you know, it's just so, it's curious, the behavior that she has with stuff like that. But like, I also really appreciated the complexity of like the background story they give for Andy and Piper, where, you know, Andy really cares about Piper enough to where he's like, I want to protect her from the harsh realities of the world, and like I don't want her to know that her dad was actually pretty terrible. Like, you know what I mean? And I understand like why he had that perspective, and or why he had that thought process of like, I don't want to ruin this for her. She was never harmed. why does she need to know that I was? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to ruin her relationship and her view of her dad and all these things. But like, you could tell, like, that's had such a huge effect on him because like he just feels so out of place, even with like, obviously immediately he already knew that like he wasn't actually the one that this lady wanted to be there. And even though she agreed to do it, he was still immediately excluded. And it was very subtle behavior from her of like, yeah, let's take a picture. And he's just not really in it. He's covered up, like stuff like that. But you can see it. You can see it on his face where he's just like, he's hurt by it because he already has that insecurity of like, oh, okay, like I'm not actually the one that was wanted or whatever. And it's really sad because like he like is keeping all of it to himself to protect his sister, you know what I mean? But it's just like he doesn't have his own outlet for dealing with this stuff. And it's just, and that's why what Laura does is even more horrible, because the one person that he actually opened up to about this is using it against him to take his sister away. You know what I mean? Like the exact opposite thing of what he wanted to happen, especially for her. And then just to say like that the whole thing about him, hitting his sister, but she didn't even know, or I don't know if it was she didn't know or she didn't remember.
She was so young, she didn't remember.
She didn't remember it, right? And like just the whole, how it ate at him that he would do something like that. It's just, these are very complex characters that have very real emotions that people actually deal with, of like, what they see is sometimes what they imitate, and what they experience, or like a lack of an outlet to deal with what you have going on, causes you to do terrible things to the people you care about. And it's just like a terrible cycle, but it's very real, and I loved the complexity of that background story for them, because that's also, I think, like Sterling, you mentioned that this is like a story we've seen a lot in different ways. That kind of stuff is what sets it a little bit apart, because it's not just that basic, like, our dad hated us both, treated us terribly, or it's not, it's like a very, very complex, specific, like scenario of a family dynamic that is a dynamic that people in real life have, but you don't really get that story often. So I liked that. I really enjoyed that they did that. Also, like, I think, and I don't know, maybe you guys can help me understand it better, but like, I guess I'm still not fully understanding like why she needed Ollie as a conduit for the daughter. Like why did they need that in between thing instead of just like you know what I mean? Instead, what's the rule of this ritual that they did, of why, like why do they need this go between person for her to get her daughter back? You know what I mean? Because it's like, obviously she's not putting the demon in her daughter, but why do you need to put a demon in somebody else until she can come back? Like, I guess I didn't quite understand what the rule was with that ritual she was doing.
You got it, Jess?
I could. If you want, I was going to wait for you, but you hadn't spoken a while. I figured you want this one.
I just want, you want straight demon knowledge, or you want, I mean, what do you want, Heather?
I just want to understand like why Ollie was needed for the daughter to come back when it wasn't like, because part of me was like, okay, so is it's not, because she even had said some things in it like, oh, am I doing this right, and all this stuff, and it's not time yet, things like that, which I know now that was more talking about when he could eat, but like it just was like, okay, so is Ollie not working as the conduit because he's not close enough to her like what her daughter was as a person or personality or anything like that? Is that why he's not working out well as the conduit? Or is that what the conduit was supposed to be doing the whole time, but it just didn't play out the way she wanted? I don't know. I just was a little bit confused on what the rule was with all of that.
Okay. Well, I'll let Sterling go last since, maybe he has a demonology angle and it could add something to this. But the gist of what I got from the movie was, okay, so, and this is kind of where they change it up, because normally in this kind of stuff where you're trading bodies or trying to bring somebody back to life, normally it's just you need one sacrifice in order to bring this person back to life. But what made this one a little bit different is that you really needed two people essentially to bring one person back to life, because you needed the demon to consume the the old body and essentially eat the soul, right? And then the demon would then regurgitate or puke, I guess, the remains or the soul into this body, into this other body that you want the soul to revive in or whatever.
I just like the way you said that though, Jastin. You were like, regurgitate or puke. Like you did that a little bit like they do on case files, like back in the 90s, especially late or early 2000s, where they're like, then the police used their global positioning system or GPS. Or he went to the automated teller machine or ATM. Like just the way you said that, regurgitate or puke.
In layman's terms, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I did explain it like that. So you needed a demon in order to be able to make this transfer happen. But the demon needs a conduit, a body or something to possess, something to be in order to then carry out what you need done. So Ali was needed, and the circle was created and the ritual was done to get the demon into Ali. Then once the demon is in Ali, now the demon in that host body can eat her daughter's body and take the soul, if you will. And then you need another body for him to regurgitate the soul into. And now your child essentially can live in that body. So that's why she needed Piper's body as well. And that's why she wanted somebody, Piper, and that's why Piper was special, because Piper was also blind and Piper was about the same age. So if you're gonna have a different body, let it be the body of someone who is similar to my daughter, because that's who I want her soul to go in. So that's why Piper was important to it. But also there was that rule about mimicking the death, which is why Piper had to drown, and the death has to be similar under similar circumstances. And I guess the rain had filled up the pool to a certain point. So that needed to happen. So that's why the rain was important. And you got to drown her the same way that her kid was drowned. And then Ali could then, after feeding on the body, regurgitate it. But I think what was happening is that obviously this demon trying to live in this child's body is not a natural undertaking. Ali is just a little boy. So this demon
was like 2 months or something.
Yeah. So this demon would just be taken over and trying to eat and stuff. And it's some sort of feeding demon, like what Sterling was talking about. So it just had this insatiable hunger and was starving and just eating, whatever, but ultimately knew that it was waiting to eat the dead body,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think my disconnect with it, I think, was when we first see Ollie and like what he's dealing with and her being like, oh, am I doing this right? And all this stuff. I think my thought and the way my brain processed that was that she had taken him to be the replacement for the daughter, and that's what his purpose was. And it's the idea of like, oh, it's actually two sacrifices. That I think that was the disconnect that I had, because I was getting the majority of it, but I was just like, there was something that wasn't quite connecting for me between like, well, why do we need Ollie when Ollie wasn't the one you wanted to bring your daughter back? Or is that what you tried and it didn't work? So you want him around long enough to transfer whatever it is into somebody who is a better fit. That's what I was confused about.
Okay.
But that makes more sense.
And just to kind of clear up that scene too that you're talking about, because there were a few details in there, but it's like they said you could see the demon in the reflection of the mirror before it cracks. It happened so quick, I didn't quite get the visual of the demon. But apparently, when she's talking to him there and she says, "Am I doing this right? How do I know you're there if I can't see you?" That was her trying to communicate with this demon that was supposed to have been put in Ollie. And I think when he made all that shit happen and the mirror cracked and stuff, that was the demon affirming that, yeah, bitch, I'm here. So when are you going to feed me, so to speak? Yeah. So that's kind of what that was. But even it happened so fast, I didn't see anything in the mirror. I didn't, but I might have missed that.
It's there.
It is? Okay.
I saw it.
What was it? Just a horn? What did it look like? Just your traditional?
Like a dark horned being.
Okay. Okay.
Well, there's a couple of things. You're both not completely far off. There is some little things here and there. So with this, when it comes to the demon, and all this other stuff, or when she's asking, are you there? Am I doing this right? Part of it was because she's been feeding the daughter to that demon for a while. Right. And we know the demon can manifest things that it's eaten. He was never showing her daughter. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like with the dad when he ate the hair and then he like portrayed the dad. It wasn't like when he ate some of the brother that he showed did the brother's voice. The demon was doing nothing of the daughter.
Okay, yeah.
That's what she was saying. It wasn't a call to the demon. She knew the demon was there because the kid now had the mark and the kid was eating dead body. She knew the demon was there. She didn't know if their daughter's soul was in with the demon. Was she doing that part of the ritual right? That's when
she's like, am I doing this right? Yeah.
Am I doing this right? Is the daughter's soul still there? You know what I mean?
That's what she was talking directly to the demon.
She knows the demon's there. Kid's eating fucking dead body. She knows the demon's there. You know what I mean? It's the daughter. Is the daughter there? Because she's done all this other stuff, and the demon's not presenting any aspects of her daughter. You know what I mean? That's what she's calling forth to that. Outside of that, now, does this, as far as I know, does this specific ritual have any relevance in any actual demonology? Not that I know of. This could have been a couple of different demons. It could have been Beelzebub, or it could have been Behemoth. It could have been Behemoth. Those are the demons of gluttony. You know, those what would have been inside him in that regard would have been a demon like that. Because the whole idea is you want an entity of endless hunger to eat a dead body, you know, and to have a devil's pact and all those things. And so with that, according to the movie, the way the ritual works is person dies. Like say, like her daughter drowns, right? You find a conduit, you find just a person, do a ritual, demon in there. Ideally speaking, you have someone else right there. You drown them real quick, have demon eat the body of the original person, regurgitate the spirit into the newly drowned person, resurrection. It's done within moments, because that's what they were doing in those videos. That's why they were hanging them all the same way. Is that's the easiest way to recreate the same death over and over again. Put them in a circle, hang them. Move to the next person, hang them. That's also why you had Big Bloated Man. He had a dead body inside him. And I think that was her worry in this instance, is because this was taking time. Daughter's frozen. Would this ritual still work at this point? And that's also the other downside of the ritual, and probably why it wouldn't have worked anyway, or why it was going so chaotic with Ollie, is because that demon's not meant to live in somebody that long. They were doing the ritual very quickly in those tapes. She's trying to buy time. You know what I mean? Which is very hard when you've got a demon of hunger, or something like that, or exhibiting essentially endless hunger. It's eating everything, anything and everything, because it's not meant to be there for that long. Like I said, in the tapes, it's like 5-10 minutes max. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised he didn't have something in there about like maybe she is like she's done this before she found Piper, but
it could have. I mean, that would have actually been a nice twist if she tried this on someone else and it just didn't work.
That was another thing too. I was like, she kept, with the whole describing Ollie with like, oh yeah, red curly hair, all this stuff. And then you see the video, I think, of her nephew or something.
Yeah, that was Ollie.
Yeah.
The red curly haired kid in the video was Ollie, was the actual Ollie.
Okay. And it was just, okay, I gotcha. I was just kind of like, is that going to be a relevance of like, did she try this with her nephew? Did her nephew, it was just I think she just did that because if she talked to anybody on the phone and she's just like, oh, that's Ollie. Everybody knows Ollie, Ollie's their nephew. Okay. Yeah.
Because that's what Wendy, the caretaker lady, thought, or the social worker lady thought. Oh no, that's her nephew, Ollie.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
And so when she described him to Piper, she did the joke, but she actually said what the real Ollie looked like. Just because it was the joke. Because she was like getting in on the joke with her and her brother. Yeah. Like, oh, he's got curly red hair. Because the real Ollie does. And so she just kind of kept running with that joke. That was that whole thing. That was just her playing a goof, but also, like I said, if she's ever on the phone with people, or like, because like I said, when he's talking to Wendy, isn't that lady's name Wendy? Like, when he's talking to her and he's like, no, it's like the kid Ollie. The first thing she does is goes, oh no, that's her nephew. It gives anybody that knows her just an air of doubt if they ever hear that Ollie's there.
Yeah.
That's all it is it's just an easy lie.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I was just curious because they actually showed Ollie and I was like, is this to elude that Ollie's now dead or something? Like, but yeah, that makes sense. It's just a cover for.
That was whenever they showed you Ollie, that was to give you the hint that she described him, but also later when Wendy goes, no, Ollie's her nephew, it's not the same. They did that on purpose just to give you that clue later.
Yeah.
Just so you knew the difference. But yeah, anyway, back to the demon stuff. It's a standard type of thing, ideally speaking, because since you need them to die the same way, that implies that you can use unwilling victims. So the only way to use unwilling victims in like a soul transfer type of thing like that requires consumption of a body would be that you would have to secretly feed somebody else and then kill them the same way, or to use a conduit. Conduit don't give a fuck. It's a hunger demon.
Right.
You put shit in front of it, it's going to eat. It eats a dead body. then you use ritual to then have it regurgitate into new corpse.
Yeah.
And it's just the easiest way to logically bind two bodies that have died the same way in that regard. But yeah, like I said, that's the only difference really with what you guys said and everything was the fact that she wasn't asking if the demon was there. She was asking if her daughter was.
Okay.
And that's one reason why I think she punched the mirror. She saw the demon, not her daughter.
Mm.
You know what I mean? She got mad because yes, the demon was there and it was like doing all that, and she punches it, right? Like she hits the mirror. I'm not crazy, right? She did hit the mirror.
The demon made that happen.
You might be right on that. I'm just saying, like, mirror explodes, but like that's the thing is, I think she was asking if the daughter was there because, like I said, there's all the evidence in the world that there's a demon in that fucking kid. No birthmark, now has birthmark. Will eat anything. I think that when she's asking, are you there? Am I doing this right? It's asking if the daughter's there because she'd been sneaking Ollie off to feed him little bits of the daughter. Because it showed earlier in the movie that she was snuck him into the shed to feed him. And then whenever they finally show you the daughter's body, she had been eaten. So to me, that's what she was asking. I mean, of course I can't say that with for certainty, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like I said, she's seen the demon. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's all the evidence in the world that kid's possessed by something.
Yeah.
But that's to me who she'd be asking for. Because like I said, we'd already seen him eat the hair. Bam. Ghost dead. He'd been eating the daughter.
Yeah.
No
Why
evidence.
Not present. Yeah. Nope, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate the clarification. Cause like I feel like I understood it for the most part, but I was like, yeah, there was just a few dots that I was like, I'm not quite sure I'm getting what it was. But and then the only other thing that I wanted to say is like when she leaves with Piper and she tells Andy like, hey, just don't let Ollie out of his room. I'm like, that lady definitely should have planned better. Like there should be instructions for if Ollie gets out. Like she's just like, all right, just leave Ollie in his room.
Yeah, but what instructions are you going to leave? Be careful. He will eat anything, including knives. You know what I mean? Like what preparations do you write down? You know what I mean? And plus, I think she thought it was all taken care of because, she locked the door, not realizing that the kids had the system for unlocking doors.
Right.
I want to know why it was never addressed that Ollie broke a window and just got the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, also, why was that? Why did that room have so much stuff in it? Like, you've got the hunger demon's just going to be eating everything in that room.
Right.
And I think all of that speaks to the fact that she is a first-time summoner. She's limited in her information and what she knows, and she's literally looking up these VHS tapes that she got from God knows where, trying to mimic the steps and copy it the best way that she knows how, which is why she's questioning things in the first place, which is why this plan is chaotic. I think it all speaks to the chaotic nature of her not being experienced doing this too. This is a desperate woman trying to really do some shit that she doesn't understand. And I think it adds to the story. I'm kind of glad that she didn't really have all the answers or know exactly what she was doing. Because most of the time you see a story like this, the person doing this understands or has some necromancer or somebody who is experienced or somebody who
there's like the high priest or some their family friend
has experience with demons or souls and all of that kind of stuff. what helped this is that this is just a desperate woman trying to do some shit she doesn't understand. So she's fucking up and making mistakes and questioning shit and not really knowing too, because I mean, this is some crazy shit. She don't know what she's doing.
And, she's got to be careful, because if Ollie takes too much damage, it might be one of those things where the vessel dies. The vessel dies. What do you got? Type of scenario. Because we also know that if you get outside the circle, that demon starts losing power fairly quick. Because whenever he's like writing, when he's like asking for help, when the brother takes him past the circle, and he starts asking for help all of a sudden, because he's, already past the circle. So the demon's losing power so quick. And then on top of that, whenever at the end of the movie, I do think it's funny though, too, at the end of the movie, the demon's just like, guess I'm done. And walks the little boy past the circle to like exercise himself. Because he's just like, there's no reason for me to be here anymore. It's a very polite demon.
And see, that's interesting that you took it that way. I took it as Ollie, or in this, or really more literally in this case, Connor Bird, who the actual kid was. I took it as he saw that wanted poster, or that missing poster, wanted poster. He saw the missing. He's not wanted yet. They don't know everything he's eaten. He saw the missing poster of himself and willed himself across the circle, like the other side of himself. The Connor Bird part of him, won over the Ollie part of him, and he willed himself past the circle.
In all honesty, Jastin,
I think that's what it was, because Ollie never wanted to cross the circle.
No. In all honesty, you're right. It was.
Oh, were you joking?
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank goodness. I was like, surely Sterling didn't fucking think that.
No, it was a joke, because it's just like he's just standing there and goes, meh, I'm done, and just walks across the line. No, it is. It's because plus I think at that point, the demon, even though being a hunger demon, it just ate a dead body. It's like, you know what I mean? It was like serving its purpose. It's, I don't want to say full, but like slightly satiated. You know what I mean? So it's not as like,
well, yeah, you see his belly at the end too. It's so protruding.
Yeah, it almost looked like a pregnancy.
Yeah.
I wonder if the demon could have burst it out.
No, I'm just saying like at that point, it's more or less, it's like a fat, happy demon. So it's not like really like, yeah, I'm going to fight. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's functional urge is kind of satiated at that point. So it's just not as in full force. So that whenever he sees the poster, it's it's easier for the Connor to then take over.
Yeah, because the demon subsided a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a funnier joke that the demon was just polite and goes, "No, I'm done here," and just walks across.
Thanks for the food, bud.
Like, hey, I came, I ate, time to go home.
Be gone, Connor. Yeah. That was all I had. Yeah, that was it.
I'm sticking with my happy demon philosophy.
I like it. It's a good image.
I'm just trying to rehabilitate the PR for hell. They're just known for all the bad. Nobody talks about all the good shit they do, like giving possessed kids back.
They didn't have to do that.
He didn't. He could have jumped in that pool and started eating the lady. But no, he was like, you know what? I'm done. Let's go home, kid. That's how I remember it in my head now. That's my head canon for the end of this movie. Polite demon. But I do think part of it, too, is, like you were saying, Jastin, like, yes, her inexperience, but also the monkey paw of it all. You know, like, that be careful what you wish for type of scenario, because like yeah, it's a hunger demon, and yeah, it's in a little kid, but it's a hunger demon. You're having an endless, like, unholy void of hunger just there. Yeah, it's going to try to eat the cat. It's going to try to eat a knife. It's going to try to eat a table, the fucking chickens. You know what I mean? It's going to try to eat everything, you know, because I think part of she also knew that, like, if she fed her daughter completely to the demon, nobody would trust her. Like, she wouldn't be able to get her new victim because you would have demonic, you know, distended kid just in there going, you know what I mean? And, you know, I know it's a little blind girl and everything, but, like, you know, it'd be real weird.
Right.
But also, like, why did she, like, I guess, did she have to fill the pool? Couldn't she have just drowned her in the bathtub?
Or the puddle, like
or
her
a
brother.
puddle? Didn't say.
Yeah. And she didn't really know. It just said mimic the death. So, you know, somebody who doesn't fully understand the rules is probably thinking she's got to die in the same way that my daughter died. You know, my daughter died in this pool. She got to be drowned in the pool.
But also, I know that she, like, but also, come on, Australian social workers. Yeah, I know she was a colleague of yours and everything like that, but, like, you didn't do a single house visit before you dropped these kids off? You didn't go over there at all and see that this kid, Ollie, that's there is not her nephew? It looks just like the kid whose picture's hanging up in your fucking office?
Especially when she's like, oh, I've had trouble with boys before, but you still gave her a boy because they didn't want to be split up. Like, let's check, make sure she's all right or something's good, like not wrong. Yeah. And also even like going into the house and, you know, seeing the girls' room versus the guys' room. It's like, was that not a weird, like, red flag for you that, like,
She didn't give a fuck?
Yeah.
But also, one thing that nobody brought up, she was also poisoning this kid through his creatine.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
That's why she dumps it out. Which also, you could have just put it away. Because, like, I don't think they would have instantly gone to drug testing the creatine. You didn't have to pour it down the sink. I don't think they were going to sit there and go, hey, let's test the creatine. That's where she's been drugging this kid and making him sleep while she pours her piss on him. To me, that's the grossest scene in this movie.
That was so gross.
She's just pouring her piss on this child. Give me a million knife eatings before that. That's gross.
Yeah, that was crazy. But when you saw it, it just makes you realize what lengths she was willing to go through. All she was trying to do was tally up all these documented things to make them go, yeah, let's get him
out of there.
Out of here.
Well, and it's to get him out of there even before the 3 months so that he would have no chance of trying to get her back.
Yeah.
She also immediately looked through his
happen
phone.
quickly, so yeah.
Yeah, right. She just grabbed his phone.
Like first 10 minutes of him being there, she's just like looking at his phone.
And also, let's be real.
Bad.
Let's be real. Yeah, Oliver was fucking weird. Okay. Like, come on, be real.
Don't act like you care about that kid. You don't care about that kid.
You knew he had a demon in him, lady. Of course he's a little fucking weird.
It's gonna be a little weird, yes. Like,
it would be weird if he was normal. He has a demon in him.
Right. Which, again, part of that manipulation of, like, she didn't actually care and she knew, but she wanted to, like, manipulate his feelings. Like, but yeah, it just, the whole going for his phone immediately when I'm like, for what though? Like, I don't know. It was just, and then her like, who are you talking to? You know, like this, like just really in his business immediately. It was crazy.
Yeah. And I think maybe part of that too was because later she does take the phone and delete all of his pictures because this was a missing kid. So who knows? He sends one of those pictures to one of his friends or something, and they're like, oh shit, that's that missing kid. You know, you just
like
never
get out.
know. and
Yeah.
she was trying to. I think it was just another way of her covering her ass.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it
But
was.
at the same time, or it could have been her trying to find another way to manipulate him. Who is he talking to so that I can somehow fuck this shit up too? But I think really that's what it was.
Oh yeah, it's all
Like,
of it. It's manipulation.
yeah,
It's covering her tracks. It's all of it. You know.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm just like, why would he not be skeptical or like feel weird around her if that's the first thing she does when she visits him in his room is like just look at his phone when he just goes
but the thing
away
is,
for a minute.
that's what she wanted though. She
Yeah, that's
wanted
true.
him to feel uncomfortable
That's
around
true.
him, so that he would act out, and she would have a reason to separate them
Yeah.
and to make him seem unfit. That was the whole point from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, she knew the highest chance of her getting the girl to happily stay there and all those things would be to take the brother, but then to alienate them immediately.
Right.
You know, type of scenario. But
Yeah, of course. It was just funny because I was like, she acted so offended. Like, how dare you get upset at me for looking at your phone? But yeah, she was playing him the whole time. Everything she knew exactly what she was doing.
And it's funny because you can tell the difference between me and that kid, because the second she would have been like, "Who are you talking to?" I would have been like, "Your mom." Texting your mom. Which I don't know if that's better or not, that I'm a damn near 40-year-old adult. And my first instinct over the teenagers is to go, "Your mom." I don't know what that says about me.
Maturity.
You're right, Heather. Maturity is using a "your mom" joke. Thank you. Anything else, guys?
Nah, I'm good.
Man, I can't believe we started this shit with those shitty ass peanut butter and jelly Reese's. That's just dumb. Anyway,
Didn't go ape for the grape.
fuck no. Why'd you look at me like that was the surprising reaction? I was sitting there making a grimace face while eating it. You could see me, Jastin.
I thought you thought it was decent.
I said I needed to take a shot
What,
of
6 out of
Malort
10, 7 out of 10
to wash it. That's easily a 1.2.
I think the first bite you said you couldn't really taste
I
it,
couldn't
and then
taste
I think
it.
by the second bite you were like, "No, this is bad."
Once I got that grape, that hint of grape, I did not like that. Grape and chocolate did not go well together to me. 1.2.
1.2.
Yeah, and that's all just chocolate and peanut butter. And that's the thing, is a normal, like Reese's Big Cup for me is a 9, because I think the ratio in a regular Reese's peanut butter cup is the best. That's a 10. Big cups are a 9 because there's less chocolate, so you don't get a good mix, but it's a lot of peanut butter. So it's still good, still really good. But, you know, to me, like I said, the perfect one is just a regular Reese's. Perfect chocolate to peanut butter ratio. You want to get an 11, give me one of the fucking Easter egg ones, because it's a slightly different ratio and it's really good. Anyway. For you to drop the taste of chocolate and peanut butter from a 9, because it's a big cup, to a fucking 1.2 is disgraceful. Because
How that grape did to score like that.
Man, it didn't even taste like grape jelly. It tasted like Dimetapp.
It took off 8.5 points for the grape.
Because it was fake grape. It wasn't even real grape flavor. It was fake grape. So it was fake grape and chocolate. That's gross. Gross. Well, what score are you giving it, Jastin?
Oh, 1.
Man, what score are you giving it?
I mean, I think I'm giving it what Heather gave it. Like, it was just, it was
Is this a 1 to
decent.
5 scale? What is this?
1 to 10.
1 to 10? It's 5. It's right in the middle. It's not good. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
It's a 5.
It was bad.
It's still a cup, there's still the chocolate and peanut butter that's good. But
If
it's
I'm ever
just
getting a
that hint of
craving and
grape.
it's the only thing, I'll eat it.
Hell
That
no.
hint of grape didn't make that big of an impact.
It did to me. Like
To
I said,
me.
it was Diamond Tap grape
Mm.
with chocolate.
I think you have a more like maybe sophisticated palate. Like I think you
fuck
just
no.
notice flavors more than I
amount,
do.
The amount of garbage I eat means I don't have a sophisticated palate. Like,
Well, what do you call it when it's just
I-
like you just notice flavors more?
well, I mean,
He
yeah,
probably does though, because he's a chef.
I mean,
So
it
it
would be a
makes
more
sense.
developed palate, but
Developed.
also I destroy my taste buds constantly when I drink Malort, which
Fair.
is famously known for tasting like earwax and gasoline.
This might actually just say more about me then, that I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm that person that's like, I know something tastes good, but I couldn't point out specific flavors all the time. I'm just like, it all's good together. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's just how I
can't
am with
either.
stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like you could give me like a chicken that's cooked well with all these great seasonings, and I'm not going to be able to point out to you like the specific seasonings you used. I could tell you, oh, it tastes garlicky, or I could be like, oh, it tastes like this or that or whatever, but I'm like not gonna, it's gonna be very basic sounding. Like what I
You're not going to be sitting
recognize.
there like, oh, is that a hint of cardamom?
Right. Did you use rosemary and thyme? Yeah, I'm not gonna do
Wait,
that.
how do you not know rosemary and thyme? They're aromatics. Like, it gives it away just by the smell alone.
I mean, I would maybe be able to pick it out more for the smell, but I'm
But
just
you
saying.
can taste the smell of rosemary and thyme. They taste like they smell.
I believe you. I'm just like,
What do you mean
these
you
seasonings are
believe
just
me?
good.
They do. Like, that's what they do.
Rosemary and thyme, weren't they bank robbers, or what are you talking about?
Those are fucking
What is-
herbs, you degenerate. What do you mean? What do you mean,
See, I think
Jastin?
Justin, you see what I mean, Justin? Like, I'm like, I
Justin,
just know if it's
you've-
on something, it's good.
You've never had
but-
some rosemary chicken?
Oh, that I've had.
Yeah.
That's what that is?
Yeah, rosemary. It's a fucking herb.
That's cool.
And thyme is THYME. And it's an herb.
What is twine?
Thyme.
Oh, it's an herb.
Yeah, it's an herb.
Thyme, T-I-N-E.
THYME. Thyme.
I've never heard that word in my life.
Justin, you've heard that word so many times. Justin, you've heard that word
I'm not a chef.
so many times.
I thought you were talking about those
Rosemary
Justin,
is
have
the
you never-
name of the lady who made the chicken. Rosemary's chicken.
Yeah, rosemary.
Justin, you've never seen
Some lady that used to ride a chicken like a chicken jockey or something. I
You
don't know
son of a
what you
bitch,
talking
Justin.
about.
You son of a fucking bitch. But anyway, you've never seen the Fresh Time Market, and it's spelled THYME? The organic store?
I'm just not a chef, Sterling. I don't know
Justin,
chef stuff.
that's not chef shit, Justin. That's basic shit.
Oh,
That is just it's something that exists all the time. It's herbs. Justin, you don't put herbs on your food?
what's an herb?
You son of a bitch.
I'm kidding. I know what
You,
that is.
you son of a
Not
bitch.
really, though. I mean,
Why are you putting herbs, Justin? Why are you just using spices? Why aren't you using them herbs, man?
yeah, I'm more spices than herbs.
You got to use both, man. Get those aromatic
know.
qualities.
I don't know enough about them. I need to learn about, how to utilize them.
I make some beef bourguignon, which is like beef stewed in just wine for hours. Man, you just throw in a bunch of thyme and a bunch of bay leaves, and then before you're done, you just take them out, and it kind of just helps with the smell and the experience of it all. The flavors just kind of seep into it. You just take them out for the most part. But like when I make beef bourguignon, dude, I cook that shit so long. Like it's made with like a bunch of onions, right? And they stew so long in it that the onions just literally dissolve. Like there's no actual chunks of onion anywhere in this. Even the last time I was like, no, I want some onion in there. And so I put big ass chunks of onion in there. And when I went to eat it, dude, none. It was all gone. It was just carrots, this wine gravy, which doesn't like, there's technically a minute amount of alcohol still, but like it's essentially just this sauce and beef. And that's it. But it's still pretty good. I just wanted onions. We have to do it the Julia Child's way and do some like garlicky pearl onions with it. Put them in at the end. Because when I stew them, they're gone. I tried so hard, Jastin, this last time. I mean, big old chunks of onions, yeah, and gone. I was so mad.
That one cook chick, Barefoot Contessa, she liked onions and stuff. Wait, she was bad though, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Did she kick somebody or what
No,
happened?
this little dying kid wanted his like Make-A-Wish to be like to meet her, and she's like, nah. Until it went public that she wouldn't meet a dying kid, and then she's like, I want to meet you now, and he's like, no, I don't want to meet you anymore.
That's Barefoot.
Yeah, Barefoot, dude.
Damn, dude.
She's a son of a bitch, man.
I forgot. I used to kind of like her.
Everyone did. I found that out, and I was like, because one of my favorite things she's ever made was this stuff called Marry Me Chicken, which is a famous dish, but it's chicken that's so good you'll want to marry the person that made it. That's why it's called Marry Me Chicken. And like, when the first time I had ever heard of it was on her show, and but then I heard she's just a dick like that. I'm like, man, I want none of your recipes, Ina Gardner.
She really tried to come back. I'll meet you now.
Dude, that little kid's like, man, I got cancer. I ain't a dumbass though. Fuck you. I'm gonna go meet John Cena. He meets everybody.
Why didn't she cook him something or something?
Man, or just meet the kid. Like, just meet him.
To be fair,
She
she
could've
still
made
should have
him
cooked
the
for him for an
chicken.
apology. Be like, I'm sorry that I was terrible and I didn't meet you, but I did make you something.
Yeah, make him the I'm sorry chicken and the I apologize Benedict or some shit. And then go up there and just give it to him. Kid would have ate it and been like, all right, Barefoot.
Come on, you're telling me they couldn't just
I fucks with Barefoot. That's what that kid would have said.
You're telling me they can't just have that kid sit in the kitchen while she filmed her show? Come on, Barefoot.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up, man. That's kind of.
You're a Contessa, man.
Though you didn't have time.
The sad thing is most likely it was probably like one of her agent that ended up denying it without her knowing.
Yeah, it probably was.
But it's a bad look, man. It's a bad look. Like, what kind of person hires an agent that turns down the dying kids? If John Cena can do like 9,000 Make-A-Wishes, you can do one.
Yeah.
I don't even like kids, and I could do one Make-A-Wish.
And you a cook.
Dude, I'm like, for one, I would feel bad that a Make-A-Wish would want anything to do with me. So I'd feel some sort of obligation to do something at that point, because I'm like, I don't know why your wish is anything with me. But.
Man, you're a cook. You could have cooked like a high level treat or something like what?
Well,
Rice Krispie treats.
And you're a cook with a show. You can't just have him just sit there while you cook something.
I know, and then just give him some.
I don't know, make some fancy ass sloppy joes or something. You got a cooking show. I'm sure she's got 9,000 different ways she can make chicken tendies look good. And he could have eaten some cheeky tendies and had some Dr. Peppy.
Now, fuck that kid if he wanted Dr. Peppy.
Well, for one, some Dr. Peppy?
You better not say it like that.
Jastin, he's dying. He can say it how he wants.
I don't accept that.
Did you guys know that Make-A-Wish isn't actually just dying kids? It's just kids with just serious illnesses.
Yeah, like serious. That's what
Yeah.
I thought. Like cancer.
It's
It could be.
It's
Yeah.
not necessarily people that are terminal. It's just funnier if you think it's a dying kid, though, and she was an asshole to him.
Barefoot.
Plus, that's not sanitary. You need to wear shoes, preferably slip-resistant, in a kitchen. Just saying.
Yeah, when you think barefoot somebody, you don't think about food immediately. You just think about an exposed foot.
Wonder if she ever dropped a knife on her foot.
From chewing on it.
Yeah, and then dropped it.
Uh-oh. Ooh. How does she talk? Oh, my word. How does she talk? Great muffins. How does she talk? What was her catchphrase?
I don't think she had a catchphrase other than, it's really delicious. Or, my husband really likes this one. What was her husband's name? Like Frank? She's like, every time I make this for Frank, he's so happy. Guys, we've been going for 3.5 hours. We're fucking done.
Yes.
I need to do this outro. But yeah, I haven't even done the outro yet.
Oh, damn.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the CineScores podcast. Check us out on the internet, www.cinescores.com, or CineScores podcast on Facebook, cinema_slayers on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd. We're at CineScores pod on TikTok and YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating review. We really appreciate it. We'd really help us out. Shout out to Mundo Ocho and Logmigo for our logos and theme song, respectively. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your friends' family, tell your family's friends. Most of all, tell those dear sweet mothers, because dear sweet mothers love
Sally Hawkins?
chewing on knives. Close. Or cantaloupe.
Okay. Cantaloupe, acceptable.
We here at the CineScores podcast, pro slut, pro Sydney, pro naked, and pro steak fingers. You, yes, you, cinefans, you are enough. Justice for Todd. Justice for all the stunt people, animators, and caterers out there that make all our movie-going dreams possible. And as I always end the TikToks, the YouTube videos, and most importantly, this podcast, just remember, according to Jastin, Moon Knight is a Best Picture winner.
Cinema Slayers.
Yeah, because since we talk over the outro, I took the words out of it.
Makes sense.
Anyway, anything else?
I'm all done.
Good. We're out like a knife in the mouth.